And a very good morning to you all. This is Pembroke Cricket Club, and this is the IP20 Interprovincial Series, Day 3 of the festival. Andrew Blair-White and John Kenny with you for commentary on the opening spell of the Leinster Lightning against the Northwest Warriors. Well, an interesting day's cricket yesterday. A couple of surprises too. So as we head into this, the final day of this opening day of festivals before we head to Breedy and then in September to the Northern Cricket Union, all of the teams have at least one match win under their belt. So Northwest Warriors against the Leinster Lightning will kick us off. The Knights against the Munster Reds will conclude proceedings here at 4 o'clock. But let's concentrate first on this first game. Leinster Lightning against the Northwest Warriors. And a few moments ago, Andrew Blair-White was out in the middle for the toss.
Good morning and welcome to Sydney Parade for Game 5 of this IP20 series between the Leinster Lightning and the Northwest Warriors. Delighted to be out here at the toss with match referee Kevin Gallagher alongside the two captains, the Leinster Lightning's George Dockrell and the Northwest Warriors' Andy McBride. Kevin's got the coin and he's going to call.
Head. That's the head.
Andy, you've decided to bowl first today. Reasonings behind that?
Still think it's going to be a pretty good wicket. But as we've seen yesterday, it's probably quite harder to defend the score than it is to chase the score. And that's one of the reasons why I'm edging towards bowling first today.
And a chance to bounce back after a disappointing loss yesterday?
Yeah, obviously yesterday we weren't at the races yesterday at all. But obviously I expect the lads to bounce back fully today and put in another good performance.
And any team news?
Jared Wilson's missing out and Kyle McGee comes in.
Perfect, thank you very much, Andy. George, yourself, you're batting first today. Would you have been preferred to have bowled first?
We were actually thinking about batting first, I guess, day 3 on this pitch. I think it'll probably only get worse from now on. But again, I think we know it's just a good surface and it's more about what we do during the game. So happy enough to be batting.
And same to you, a good chance to bounce back after what must have been a disappointing loss yesterday.
Definitely, yeah. I think that's the good thing about these weekends. It's quite quick between the games. Obviously a tough loss yesterday, but we can come back and I think finish the weekend well today.
And do you think the pitch might take a bit of turn now in the second innings?
It seemed to do a little bit more yesterday, so hopefully it will. Us batting first, ideally it'll spin a little bit later on. But again, I think it'll be more about bowling well, hitting our straps with that and doing a job that way.
Perfect, thank you very much to George and to Andy. The news from the toss this morning out in Sydney Parade is that Andy McBride and the Northwest Warriors have won the toss and they're going to bowl first.
Thank you very much, Andrew Blair-White, who's with me in commentary for the opening 6 or 7 overs of this game. So Leinster will take to the field to bat. They are unchanged for the third consecutive day. Unfortunately, Rory Anders still has to get a game. The young 22-year-old from YMCA. There is one change, though, for the Northwest Warriors, you heard there. Kyle McGee steps in, the 19-year-old, for Jared Wilson. Are you surprised that, Andrew, that Rory Anders hasn't been given the opportunity to at least get one game under his belt?
Yeah, a little bit surprising, I suppose, but they'll obviously have their plans in place and be interesting to see whether we see more from JJ Garth today with the ball in this second innings. George Dockrell alluding at the toss that he was hoping there might be a little bit of turn in the wicket, especially in this second innings. So it will be interesting to see between himself, Dockrell, Simi Singh and JJ Garth whether they can extract that later on in this game. But the first port of call for them is to set a decent target. We've seen throughout the week that around that 160, 170 mark is a pretty good score, so that's what I'm sure they'll be looking for.
And the two opening batsmen for Leinster Lightning, Kevin O'Brien, who's failed with the bat this week. He's only scored 6 runs in 2 innings so far. Simi Singh's 44 in his opening game was full of delightful shots and 1 over. When he faced Fionn Hand, it will go down in Irish cricket folklore. 4 fours in a row, a 6, and then a stunning catch from Hand. But anyway, it's going to be Graham Hume then from the commentary box end to opening proceedings today on day 3 of the festival. And it's an aborted start. I give him the big build-up and he runs through. Well, Kevin obviously be looking for a few runs today.
Yeah, he will be. I'm sure he's not stressed in any way. 2 failures so far this weekend, but plenty of opportunity both today and next week up in Breedy to make amends. We all know the ability that Kevin possesses.
One slip in place, William Porterfield. A little uppish. They're going to run through for a single. That's the greatest shot in the world from Kevin O'Brien. Nathan Maguire does the fielding. Slightly fortuitous there.
A little bit. Trying to drive on the up there. Off Graham Hume. It was probably too back of a length to be playing that shot, but gets away with it. Good piece of fielding from Maguire in cover there. Good to see the Northwest Warriors operating with a slip in place early on.
And not exactly first slip, maybe a second slip for William Porterfield. A couple of metres wide of the Warriors wicketkeeper. Warriors, Andy McBrien's their captain. Graham Kennedy, Greg Young, William Porterfield, Graham Hume was bowling. Nathan Maguire, who you mentioned, Ross Allen, Stephen Donaghy, the wicketkeeper, Shane Getgett, William McClintock, big hitting William McClintock, and Kyle McGee, the 19-year-old, is their starting 11. Warm, humid start to today. Weather forecast for the last couple of days was for rain. Thankfully, that's held off. Down the track comes Simi Singh. Cries of catch it down towards McClintock, and he can't keep it in play. And it's gone out of his reach and trundles over the boundary ropes. But it was in the air for an awful long time, and he couldn't cut it off on the first boundary of the morning.
Yeah, Singh trying to access that extra cover region that we've seen him do so successfully so far this weekend. Always a difficult one there at third man for McClintock. You're really expected to go in and try and make that half chance into an opportunity, but as a result you become a little bit more susceptible for letting it through for a boundary.
That's one of Singh's favourite shots. When the wicketkeeper isn't standing up to the stumps, he likes to get down the wicket. George Dockrell, Josh Little, Kevin O'Brien, Simi Singh, Lorcan Tucker, JJ Garth, Jamie Grassie, Barry McCarthy, David O'Halloran, Tim Tector, Andy Balbirnie, starting 11 for the Lightning, unchanged for their third time. Hume, the South African from Johannesburg, in fact was in the South African squad for their Under-19 World Cup way back when, back in 2010. O'Brien again, little fortuitous there, almost dragged that on. Down to fine leg, but they run through for a single. That's the end of the over. 6 without loss. In fact, 7 without loss now.
Yeah, Kevin O'Brien trying to force that one through the offside, just probably showing a little bit of a stickiness in the pitch. It was certainly off back of a length, seems to be stopping ever so slightly there on Kevin. And got a couple of shots in that over. And we're going to see Craig Young from the St. John's End, who's been so impressive not only this weekend but in this season and also the last 12-18 months for Irish cricket. Bowling with good pace, good energy, and he's a very good exponent of the little ridge here in Pembroke. That slightly back of a length ridge can certainly make things happen, especially when you're bowling at Craig Young's pace. So it'll be interesting to see whether he can exploit that yet again this morning.
2 umpires, incidentally. Alan Neal at the St. John's End and Paul Reynolds at square leg in the moment. That's in the air, and Kevin O'Brien can perish again early in his innings. It's an easy catch from McClintock. Well, he just hasn't been amongst the runs. He struggled in that first over. His first shot dropped short of Nathan Maguire in the covers. A streaky single at the end of the previous over down to fine leg, and now pumps one in the air, and Kevin O'Brien's poor form continues in this T20 festival. Just 8 runs in his 3 innings, and the first wicket falls with the score on 7.
Yeah, I'd be disappointed with that, Kevin O'Brien. It was probably the right shot on from Craig Young. It was a shorter delivery, Kevin O'Brien is so good on that short ball, usually. But just getting no sense of timing at the moment. And that can happen when you're out of form. You're just not timing the ball as much as you'd like to. And he's plinked that in the end to mid-on. And William McClintock's taken a very, very regulation catch at mid-on. But a good start for the Warriors yet again. Craig Young leading them with the attack. His first delivery gets a wicket, and it brings Andy Balbirnie to the crease earlier than he would have wanted to.
Yeah, Kevin O'Brien does not look happy. He's out a shot away to our right-hand side in the blue tent, which houses the Leinster Lightning squad. Threw his gloves on the ground in disgust. Cricket can be a cruel game at times. Batsman cross, that's a full toss to Simi Singh. Is able to work that into the leg side.
I think it's been called a no ball in the end on Craig Young there for over waist height. And it's probably touch and go there for Simi Singh. It was a big full toss from Young, very unlike him. But it does mean that Andy Balbirnie's first delivery is going to be a free hit, which is always a nice way to start.
Taverners cricket, eh? First ball free. Can't be out unless you run out. Change in the field now as well. They've pushed William Porterfield down to the mid-wicket boundary. Just for this ball, perhaps.
Actually, off just your first delivery to come in and suddenly smash one over that square leg boundary. But Young will be happy that that no ball hasn't cost him any more runs, and he can now get back into his work.
Yeah, Porterfield back at first slip. Andy Balbirnie had to dig out an innings yesterday, didn't he? While all was crashing around him, he scored 40 plus. The Irish captain. But when he's in good nick, he's in good nick. World class batsman. Irish number 3, Irish captain. That's flipped away. Cries of catch it as well. It's going to fall short of Nathan Maguire. Square the wicket down in the boundary ropes. And Balbirnie off the mark.
Yeah, flipping that one away off his pads, Balbirnie. Usually known as we've seen that great effect for Ireland over the last number of years. He's got a brilliant conversion rate of converting starts into really big scores, which is always the sign of a terrific batter.
Yeah, a little spell with Glamorgan for the T20 blast. Andy Balbirnie, captain of Ireland in all 3 formats of the game. Very honest cricketer, and very honest in his interviews he's done, especially as Irish captain since taking over. He doesn't hide away from the difficult questions, which is refreshing to see. Good over this from Craig Young so far. Final ball of the second over. He bent his back into that. Simi Singh, all he can do is push it into the offside to end the over. 10 for 1 at the end of 2.
Yeah, very good start from Craig Young, and a good start from the Northwest Warriors as well, taking that key wicket at Kevin O'Brien so early, and also keeping the runs to a minimum in this vital 6-over power play at the start of your innings. And Graham Hume, who's been superb all year with the ball for the Northwest Warriors, extremely accurate, hard to get away. He'll be continuing from the Wilfield Road end.
It'll go for 4. That's why the slip is in place. Balbirnie up and over Porterfield's head at second slip, and second boundary of the morning.
Yeah, again, not with much control here from Balbirnie, trying to access over the offside, stepping away, but very thick edgy there. And it's interesting, William Porterfield now moving out towards more of a third, fourth slip position for that thick edge.
And kept a little low. Balbirnie down on one knee, trying to reach that one. Well, the forecast was for rain early morning, clearing through maybe showers in the afternoon. It's a little grey overhead, but it's nice and warm and indeed humid. And a prompt start at 11 o'clock Irish time for this game. Last one for both of these sides in the opening IP20 Festival of Cricket. We followed up at 4 o'clock Irish time with the Knights against the Munster Reds. They did so well yesterday in last night's match. I know you went here yesterday. You're playing yourself. I believe you're amongst the runs.
I got a few runs out in rush, most importantly contributing to YM winning, which is fantastic. We had a poor enough loss last week. It's good to get back on the winning thread.
That's a nice shot over the captain's head, and Balbirnie can't cut that off, and that's a more orthodox shot. Brings up a second boundary in the over for Andy Balbirnie.
Yeah, this is a simply super shot from Balbirnie, again giving himself a little bit of room. Very flowing drive over extra cover, and it always runs away pretty firm down towards the pavilion. Here in Pembroke, it's probably one of the quickest places in the ground for it to zip away to the rope.
That's another shot. Fine shot too, square of the wicket from Balbirnie. Just pulls the left leg across and thumps it into the covers. Fine shot, and 2 consecutive boundaries for Andy Balbirnie. Takes him into double figures.
Yeah, I'm sure Graham Hume is a little bit aggrieved there. He's bowled 2 not bad deliveries by any means, but 2 excellent shots from Balbirnie. Have yielded a couple of boundaries and 3 fours off this over so far, with 1 delivery still remaining.
And there's another one. Up and over extra cover. They were crying catch it, but they won't cut that off. That was hit with some venom. So 3 boundaries in a row to end that over. Poor old Graham Hume, as you say. Not the worst deliveries in the world, but certainly getting the treatment from Andy Balbirnie. 12 runs from the last 3 deliveries of that. Takes it to 26 for 1 at the end of 3. So, referring back to the YM victory against Rush yesterday, it's not about the individual, it's about the team.
Yes, as always with YMCA. We're having a bit of a difficult time with things this summer, unfortunately, with the ground situation, but we've been brilliantly accommodated by Wesley College, who have very graciously and very kindly given us facilities to train with. And yeah, we had a poor enough defeat there last week, unfortunately, out in Rathmines against Leinster, so it was good to get back on the winning thread. We're losing a couple of players, obviously Tim Tector, Rory Anders, Simi Singh, Harry Tector, all involved in this brilliant IP20 festival this weekend as well.
Isn't that what club cricket's all about? Just to feed them into your provincial sides and then perhaps onto the Irish team as well, and that certainly has happened with the Tector boys. Jack not involved this weekend for Leinster Lightning. Well, to the Knights, who will be in action against Munster at 4 o'clock this afternoon. Young is continuing. Balbirnie tries a little bit of improvisation down on one knee, tried to sweep that round the corner but didn't make contact.
Yeah, it's interesting from Balbirnie. He's taking a very positive approach here. It's actually Shane Getkate's come into the attack from the St. John's end, bowling his medium pace. Can be sometimes difficult to get away, but not, unfortunately, if you bowl that sort of length and line, and that's almost hit us here in the commentary position. And brilliantly played by Andy Balbirnie. Just helping that on its way. A bit of a freebie for him, but it's a lovely shot, and he's showing very good intent this morning. Balbirnie already onto 21 from just 10 deliveries, 5 boundary fours in there as well.
Fielding by Graham Kennedy. Thought he bowled well, actually, Kennedy, this series. 21-year-old from Derry. Former Irish under-19 player. Balbirnie looks in the mood. Flipped away into the leg side for a single. Interesting to see Simi Singh being pushed up the order to open the batting for Leinster. I wonder, is it in the back of the Irish selector's mind that maybe Simi Singh might be one of those who may be under consideration to open the batting for Ireland? Perhaps not, but they do have a problem at the top of the order. Anyone to hang around with Paul Sterling and Andy Balbirnie is certainly what they need. And Kevin O'Brien, we know, has announced his retirement from the 50-over format of the game in the last couple of days. He's going to stick with the T20s and maybe the odd test match if he can get out there. But they do have a problem at the top of the order. William Porterfield reintroduced again for the games against the Netherlands. That didn't work. That's 6. And nonchalantly flipped away backward of square by Simi Singh. And it ends that young over. And Leinster started with a blitz here, even though they've lost Kevin O'Brien. That's nicely flipped away. Moved across his stump, Simi Singh, to take the score to 38 for 1 at the end of 3.
Yeah, brilliant from Simi Singh. Fantastic 6 there, just flipping it away, and I've been reliably informed that this is the biggest amount of numbers we've had all week watching. I really hope you're enjoying the stream this morning here from Sydney Parade. It's a beautiful day, and good to see people back in Sydney Parade as well. Obviously, get in touch with us on social media. We'd love to hear where you're watching the games from. As Craig Young is now being introduced from the Willfield Road end of the ground, and Andy Balbirnie's flicked that one away. Shane Getgate had work to do and has done it very well and keeps it to 2. Just on that social media point, you can get in touch with us on Twitter and Facebook at Cricket Ireland, or on Instagram at Cricket_Ireland. And we do repeat, we would love to hear from you, as we can see on the replay. Brilliant work from Shane Getgate on the deep square boundary to keep that just to 2.
Andy Balbirnie doing the fielding, the 27-year-old from Donnamana. Made his one-day international debut back in 2014. Sort of Alexander McBride, a nephew of James McBride, both of whom also played cricket for Ireland. It's a family affair. Slip has been dispensed with for Balbirnie.
I think this was a good option from Andy McBride, bringing his strike back bowler back into the attack. A few expensive overs there from Hume and Getgate. The Leinster Lightning just building a little bit of momentum, and 2020 cricket is so much about momentum. Young comes back into the attack suddenly. There's bits and bobs happening, potentially a wicket. That's exactly what the Warriors need to start stemming the flow of runs.
Oh, and he's bowled him. And Balbirnie cannot believe that kept low, took his off stump, and the second wicket falls. Balbirnie's gone for 24, scored of 40 for 1, and Balbirnie is absolutely distraught.
Yeah, it's excellent bowling though from Craig Young. It was in the slot for Balbirnie in terms of the shot he has been playing so far this morning, but a little bit more pace with Craig Young. And I said it. Was good captaincy for McBride. Get Young back into the attack to try and take that wicket and stifle the Leinster Lightning, and they've done so successfully. Balbirnie looked excellent this morning for his 24, but from a Leinster Lightning perspective, he's departed potentially a little sooner than they would have hopefully imagined.
Partnership of 33 since the departure of Kevin O'Brien between Singh and Balbirnie, and George Dockrell, the Leinster Lightning captain, good with the bat these days. In fact, bowled well yesterday indeed. Dockrell, a little bit of return to form for the left-hand spinner. He comes in at number 4 with a score on 40 for 2. Just having a look at the tables, actually. All of these teams have played 2 matches each, and all have picked up a win each. So it's very tight. Northwest Warriors together with the Leinster Lightning on top of the table because they both pick up bonus point victories. Northern Knights on 4 points, Munster Reds on 4 points. The Warriors and the Lightning on 5 at the top, ahead of these 2 final games of the opening T20 festival here at Pembroke. Oh, good morning. All sorts of things going on out there. Dockrell had to fend that off and then decided to dance down the track, and he's nearly run out as well.
This is some greeting to the crease for George Dockrell. A really steep, uncomfortable bouncer from Craig Young. Just goes to show you the sort of form he's in with the ball. That looked nasty enough, and no surprise to see sometimes when you get one of those shorter deliveries, you set off for a single, no matter where it's gone, and Simi Singh rightly turning Dockrell away that time.
Yeah, nice bit of footwork by Stephen Donaghy. Just try to kick down the stumps. Be interesting to see if he'd actually hit. That's the end of that over. The 5th, 40 for 2. Leinster Lightning off to a really good start with Balbirnie and Simi Singh, but they've just been pegged back. That's how we look at their scoreboard. Balbirnie gone for 24. Another disappointing day for Kevin O'Brien. Out for just 2 from 4 deliveries. Singh is still there on 13. And Dockrell yet to get off the mark. And McBride looks like he's going to bring himself on. He's not. In fact, he's changed things around. Yeah, right. He's moving things around, isn't he? He had Hume bowling from the commentary box end. Now he's switched into St. John's end. And Craig Young came on from the far end, switched, and got Balbirnie's wicket. So he's just mixing things up here.
He is, and I think this is also a clever move, having Stephen Donaghy up to the stumps as well to Simi Singh. We've seen him dance down the track so many times. Can sometimes just limit his options if you are.
And he's gone. Well, this is great captaincy because the captain takes the catch too. We've seen that a couple of times over the weekend, haven't we, Andrew? Where Simi Singh has been perhaps allowed to get the runs by the wicketkeeper standing back, but when the wicketkeeper comes up to the stumps, he just stays in his crease. Tried to hit that over extra cover, but it was a good, safe pair of hands from the Northwest Warriors captain. And now Leinster Lightning, after that brisk start, are in a little bit of trouble. 40 for 3.
Yes, they are in trouble. And that wicket has come about from the keeper standing up to the stumps, I think. Simi Singh trying to have to muscle one over mid-off from a standing position instead of his trademark couple of steps down the pitch. It just makes things happen. And the Lightning now rocking a little bit at 40 for 3. The Northwest Warriors, I think if you'd offered Andy McBride at the toss that they'd have taken the first 3 Lightning batters in the power play, I think he would have taken it. So they'll be anxious now to keep the squeeze on here, and if they can nick another wicket or 2, you're exposing potentially a inexperienced lower middle order, the likes of Jamie Grassie, Tim Tector, who batted so well yesterday. But he is a young man, and an awful lot of pressure will go onto young shoulders. But Lorcan Tucker and George Dockrell, they've a job to do here for the Lightning.
Wicketkeeper for the Lightning and Ireland, Lorcan Tucker, immediately off the mark. 24-year-old member of this club here in Pembroke. First match for the Lightning back in the 2017 Interprovincial Championship. And now that they've got rid of Simi Singh, Donaghy is standing back, and they put the slip back in place, William Porterfield, for George Dockrell. Andy McBride exploring all sorts of options out there, isn't he?
Exactly, it's good proactive T20 captaincy from McBride and from this Northwest Warriors side. I think throughout this festival we've seen that they're adopting a very modern T20 approach with everything they do. They're coming out hard with the bat. They bowl with good plans, inventive plans.
Oh, just over the head. Dockrell nearly perished there. It rolls away to the boundary for 4. And that was definitely a chance. And Dockrell was nearly the 4th wicket to go.
Yeah, again driving on the up, and Kyle McGee there at extra cover. Wouldn't be one of the taller members of the Northwest Warriors side. If you had somebody with a few more inches, that could have been a real chance. Instead, Dockrell somewhat gets away with one, but he gets into his work with an uppish boundary through extra cover.
Again, cries of catch it, but it's gone over McBrien's head. They're going to come back for the second. Good performance so far from the Warriors. You just get the feeling that the Lightning are under just a little bit of pressure out there with those early fall of wickets.
Yes, well, it seems George Dockrell's going to keep playing his shots, which obviously in T20 cricket you can do. Graham Hume a little bit unlucky in this over. It's gone for the 7 runs, but Dockrell not in control of those last 2 shots. Could easily have gone to hand.
A single to end the over. 6 down. And 48 for 3. Leinster Lightning, who lost the toss this morning and were asked to bat.
So that concludes 6 overs. 6 overs gone. Leinster Lightning move on.
Thanks for the moment. Andrew Blair White did the toss for us this morning and stepped in for the first 6 overs. And Andrew Leonard is going to join me for the mid part of this Leinster Lightning innings. Good morning.
Good morning, JK. Spain versus Poland to the Lightning versus the Warriors.
Hey,
Just in the course of 16 hours or
yeah,
so.
exactly. It's all good.
Interesting game last night, wasn't it?
Yeah. In fact, when I was doing the prep work, I had the cricket on as well. So it was,
You
I
can't
was
get enough, John,
No,
can you?
exactly. I was watching the Munster Reds win yesterday. It was a good chase down by them. Certainly enjoyed your coverage.
Couldn't have predicted the 2 results yesterday,
No,
John.
certainly not.
Ted Williamson was the most cock-a-hoop man anywhere in Ireland, I reckon, last night. The Munster Reds coach, I think he was a little bit sore at some of the criticism of his side as they weren't very impressive as they went down to the Lightning in the opening game of the festival, but just like the Knights, they bounced back, and bounced back in a big way.
Stick the criticism up on the dressing room wall, they say.
Yeah, use it as motivation, isn't it?
Yeah. 48 for 3 at the end of 6, and we're going to change of bowling now from the commentary box end. It's going to be Shane Getgate for the first time this morning.
Just a little bit of confusion for Andy McBrien, the Warriors captain. Thought he had too many men outside the circle, which would have resulted in a no ball.
Not the greatest of mornings for your friend Kevin O'Brien. Failed with the bat again. He'll be very disappointed.
Yeah, a bit of a disastrous weekend. Can happen in T20 cricket at the top of the order. This is a weekend Kev will want to forget. The good news, though, you can get right back on the horse. That's what you've got to do. If you're struggling, get back into action. And the reason he can do that, John, back-to-back festivals. We'll go up to Derry next weekend. It's the exact same format. 6 games in 3 days, and it's been a really good weekend of cricket. And
Oh, I've enjoyed it, yeah, immensely. Yeah.
a lot more competitive than some might have thought coming into it.
Immensely. And that we did read out the table there before you came in to do the commentary, and it's great. All teams have won a game. There's just a bonus point between all 4 provincial sides, and some interesting cameos as well out there from players perhaps you wouldn't have expected to step up to the mark. Graham Kennedy in particular, I thought, has had a very good festival so far. George Dockrell's batted well. Simi Singh, we know what's expected of them. That's a stifled appeal. George Dockrell ball wraps him on the pads.
What about the Irish coach's son, Matt Ford?
Indeed.
Player of the match yesterday afternoon, and very deserving player of the match. another man, Ross Adair. There's been just a whole host of names around. I think the one thing that's perhaps been missing, John, is the out-and-out massive innings. No one's getting up to 70, 80. We haven't seen any hundreds this weekend. I think that's what Ford would love to see.
That's carved away. There's no slip in place now because William Porterfield's right in front of us. And that's gone racing to the boundary for 4 runs to George Dockrell.
Yeah, always going to happen when third man is in the circle. Any width, you can't afford to be bowling outside of not just the 3 stumps, but or a 4th or 5th stump outside the offside. William McClintock, a mere passenger there. All he can do is watch it go past him for 4. Get Gates' pace, you have to be very tight with your lines.
That's better. Didn't give Dockrell any room.
Yeah, and John, that's the line he has to be on. That would have gone on to hit the top of off stump. So unless Dockrell gives himself room outside the leg stump or tries to play across the line, difficult for him to manufacture anything. The delivery prior, there was too much width.
Gate, 29 years of age, born in Durban. Irish cricketer though. And here's the new man, Kyle McGee, the 19-year-old. Gets his chance for the first time this weekend to end that over. 55 for 3 at the end of 7. Kevin O'Brien out for 2. Simi Singh gone for 13. Andy Balbirnie with a brisk 24 before he's bowled by Young. George Dockrell's out there on 14. And 1 to Lorcan Tucker, the wicketkeeper, who's joined him recently.
Yeah, Andy McBride being used in a different role today. We saw in the first 2 matches, opening the bowling. Bowling his overs so economically. Today, only introduced in this, the 8th over of the match, coming in from the St. John's Road end. It almost doesn't matter what part of the innings he bowls in. He's just incredibly consistent.
Yeah, blink and you miss it. He gets through his overs very, very quickly. I heard you crying out for the Wasp yesterday, yourself and Alan Lewis. Where's the Wasp gone? Has he buzzed off? Anyway, that Wasp you can see on the right-hand side of your screen is a predicted score. So they're predicting at this stage that Lightning will get 165. That will change as wickets fall. That's a nice shot to greet McBride. Can they cut it off down there? No, they can't. Only can push it over the boundary ropes.
What a great demonstration of George Dockrell's power that he's added to his game. Down the track, and also not just power, precision. Beats the man at mid-wicket, who, in my opinion, is a little bit too square. You've got to be quite straight for an off-spinner. And as soon as it beats him on the left, it's ended up beating the long on-fielder as well, who's, I think, maybe landed on the rope. Done well not to do himself an injury there. Graham Kennedy out at long on. He's back up on his feet. He's okay.
Good spot. He's a long way away, Kennedy, from our commentary position. That's a good stop.
Dockrell toying with that mid-on fielder. That mid-wicket fielder. First one he went to his left, this time going to his right, but Getgate makes really good ground and puts his body on the line, saves a single.
Getgate's certainly in this game, isn't he?
Well, there's just key fielding positions for each style of bowler. So for an off-spinner, you're straight mid-wicket there. The man cutting off the single is a really significant position.
Just be the single. Down to Ross Allen.
Yeah, my only disappointment with the Warriors yesterday, obviously they didn't get enough runs, but they got themselves into a couple of positions where they could have just maybe dragged themselves back into the defence of that lower total. They didn't bowl enough spinners, in my opinion. If you're going to have Ross Allen in the team as a left-arm spinner, I think he was batting 11 yesterday, you've got to have some faith in him. You've got to give him the opportunity, reminiscent of JJ Garth, not bowled at all yesterday, only 1 over in the first game.
Yeah, I know you were critical of that decision. Porterfield herring across the field to do the fielding, and that's sloppy by Donaghy. Just took his eye off the ball, let it slip through his gloves. Nobody was backing up, and they're able to run 2 for the second single.
Yeah, 3 runs really for the Lightning. Get to the end of the 8th over, 61 for 3. Stephen Doherty is not an out-and-out keeper. He hasn't done it his whole life. He's really adding this second string to his bow. He's an opening batter. You could see just even the body position there. Energy wasn't great. And both Dockrell and Tucker were quick to the mistake. Get through for a second. Dockrell keep the strike. There's questions to answer though for the Lightning, John, isn't there? Real disappointing performance yesterday. The middle order in particular just went missing.
Yeah. But if we're neutral looking on, it was the right result. It just keeps everybody interested. Getgate continues to Dockrell. Looks a good nick out there, Dockrell, but he has been all weekend. Takes himself to 20.
Dockrell prolific in the IP50 this season, last season, in fact the last 3 or 4 years, but hasn't done it as regularly at the T20 level. Hasn't batted a huge amount, just averaging 17. A lot of those T20 games, John, he'd have played as an out-and-out bowler, but with this evolution of his game where he's becoming maybe a batter who bowls rather than a bowler who bats, up the order. That 48 not out the other day, that was his career best. Amazing, he's played 144 times already. Some of those games would have come for Somerset, some for Ireland, and many for the Leinster Lightning as well.
He did make his international debut, didn't he, in the West Indies back in 2010 in the T20 World Cup. More known as a spin bowler back then. Frightened the life out of West Indies too.
I think it was the retirements of Kyle McCallan and Regan West, or the injuries really to Regan West. We were robbed of seeing the best days of West, such a fine left-arm spinner. So Phil Simmons had to find someone, and he found a 17-year-old by the name of George Dockrell, who simply burst onto the world stage, both of that T20 World Cup.
He won't stop that. We could hear the clack of the bat as that sped through the leg side, bisecting the two fielders down there. And Dockrell moves nicely on to 24.
Yeah, watch him here, John. He goes very deep in his crease. Just that step back, not just deeper in his crease, but also leg side of his stump. So even though the line wasn't that poor from Getgate, the fact it was a little shorter in length allowed Dockrell to free his arms. Another demonstration of this additional power that Dockrell's brought to his game. But yeah, he burst onto the world stage as a left-arm spinner, both of that T20 World Cup, initially in the Caribbean, and then the 2011 World Cup, famously getting Sachin Tendulkar out against India. But his bowling's been a little bit on the decline the last few seasons.
William Porterfield racing to try and cut this off, and just a little bobble in front of the former Irish captain. Unfortunately, he couldn't do so. He was beaten by the bounce there, and now he's to go scrambling in the hedges to try and find it. Yeah, just a little unlucky there. Got to the ball, but just bounced over his hands. Another 4 to the total.
There won't be a man more disappointed with that than William Porterfield himself. He sets very, very high standards. That one is a misfield. It's an error that's cost his side 2 runs. Runs away for 4.
Big appeal.
I think just going down leg, John. That is nipped. I think it's nipped off the seam. Let's take a look. Shane Getgate was convinced. George Dockrell's got a good stride in. Is this doing too much and going down the leg side? For my money, absolutely yes. Good decision, Paul Reynolds.
Well, that ends the over. 73 for 3 at the end of 9. 28 to Dockrell. He looks in very good nick out there. Tucker doing the supporting role at the moment on 4 not out. Already out Kevin O'Brien, Simi Singh and Andrew Balbirnie. Graham Hume, Craig Young, Shane Getgate and Andy Balbirnie, who now continues from the St. John's end. Doctor got away with one there. It's gone through Donaghy's hand. If Donaghy had been able to pick that one up, Doctor was so far down the track he surely would have been stumped.
Massive moment in the match. Andy McBride has tempted George Dockrell, teased him down the track, and Stephen Doherty has missed what is a regulation stumping. He's come up, he hasn't kept his hands down, he's got to take the bails off there. That is a missed opportunity. How costly is that going to be?
Yeah, and they're able to walk through for a single as well. Donaghy hasn't been at his best this morning. He Let one slip through his hands as well from the fielding of William Porterfield, and now he'll be very disappointed to see Dockrell dance down the track and then couldn't pick the ball up and whip the bails off.
If you think as well, John, of course, the new Northwest Warriors coach, Gary Wilson, one of Ireland's finest wicketkeepers of all time, he's also a consultant wicket-keeping coach for Cricket Ireland now, going around the unions. I know he'll have been doing a huge amount of work with Stephen Doheney, but that is a regulation chance.
Single to Tucker. He'll be anxious to give the strike to Dockrell. Coming up to the midway point of this Leinster Lightning innings, who are asked to bat. Again, Dockrell down the track and thumps it down the ground for 4. Don't cut that off. And Dockrell looks in very good form this weekend and is continuing.
How hard does he hit this, John? Attempted this shot the first delivery of the over, doesn't mind doing it again. Straight down, look at the elevation he gets through, the follow through of the bat, 4 runs. He's disappointed with that one though, isn't he? Thought he was going to get that past the short fine leg fielder, ends up picking him out. Good loud early call from Lorcan Tucker of no. Halfway stage of the game, 81 for 3.
And there's the Leinster Lightning card. Dockrell on 33, highest score so far. But Balbirnie looked really good for his 24 off 17 before he was bowled by Young. Looked very disappointed with his dismissal.
Yeah, Shane Getgate, 3 overs, none for 29. Expensive. Again, I spoke about those additional spinners, Kennedy and Allen. If they're in the team, let them bowl. Your part-time medium pace of Getgate's been expensive. 3 overs, none for 29. I think again Kennedy brought in too late here. 2 batsmen now settled at the crease. He's going to have to cope with George Dockrell and Lorcan Tucker, who are going to go at the young left-arm spinner.
Well, you say that, but they did have the Lightning at 40 for 3 at one point. Docker is obviously the key wicket here. And it seemed that McBride had rotated his bowlers very well. Kennedy around the wicket, and that's a maximum from Tucker. Beautiful shot through the line.
John, that's my exact point. Get the spinners on when it's 40 for 3. Don't bring them on 30 runs later, 40 runs later when the 2 batsmen are settled. They've nudged it around off the medium pace. And Lorcan Tucker really good against spin. Just a full flourish, full face of the bat. Goes over our cameraman all the way for 6.
That's good cricket from Tucker. Very good cricket from Tucker. Gets the 6, and just works in into the leg side, and they're able to scramper to for 2 runs. I'll fix these teeth of mine. Scamper through.
They still in there, John?
They're still in there. At my age, it's great.
Yeah, and there on the leg side, you see the bigger side of the ground, and Lorcan Tucker weighting that really well, not hitting it as firmly as he could, so he was able to get back for 2.
Down one knee, that's swept around the corner. Fine leg is up on the circle, so skirted past him. And Kennedy's opening over is an expensive one now.
Misfield from Brendan Connor, the strength and conditioning coach, on the rope. The rope stood him. He's fumbled it. He'll be getting a bit of stick from the lads about that. One of the great servants of Irish cricket. Been working with the national team for a long time now, Brendan Connor.
Tucker was trying to play that again over Kennedy's head, but got an inside edge. But they're able to run through for a single to end the 11th over. And having been asked to bat at the end of that, they're 94 for 3.
John, looking at the bowling figures here, 5 bowlers used so far, 3 overs of spin, and immediately really good batting from Tucker. He's spotted the fact that Kennedy's come into the attack late. It's the second half of the innings by the time the left-arm spinner's been brought on, so they're going to go at him, they're going to attack him. McBride may get through his next 2 overs reasonably economically, but are they going to go to the 6th bowler? Will they go to Ross Allen? And how expensive are those 4 overs for the 6th bowler combo going to be? Hume and Young will continue to be consistent. Young in particular, look at those figures, 2 for 5. Real spearhead of this attack. But questions to answer for the Northwest. Which bowling options are they going to go with?
It just goes to show you an intriguing game of T20 cricket as well. It's not biff, bang, bosh all the time as well. Lots of conundrums to be solved and problems to be worked out. Where to place your field, what time to bring on the right bowlers. I certainly have enjoyed this festival. We've got a bit of a crowd in as well. 100 tickets sold for all 3 days as well. And they're just not pocketing the money, Cricket Ireland. They're actually going to use the receipts to benefit the Cricket Leinster Disability Programme as well, which is great to see. Dockrell goes down the track and up and over McBrien's head. He looks in very good form there. He moves to 37.
Loves hitting the ball straight, whether it be off the spinners or the seamers. All this area from long on the whole way around to extra cover. That's Dockrell's power zone. Look at this, down the track, straight as a die. Not a lot that can go wrong with that.
Calls him through for a quick single. It was to the danger end.
100 comes up in the 12th over. Wasp at 182, but this innings could still go one of two ways. Warriors could drag it back, restrict the Lightning to maybe 150, 160, but while Dockrell and Tucker are going, the home side are going to be thinking 200 plus.
Well, Tucker looks very well set out there. You were asking or posing the question. We haven't seen a massive score in the T20 game so far. There's been a couple of 50s. Dockrell will be disappointed in himself that he didn't get a 50 the other day. He was in 47 and the ball was rolling to the boundary, decided to take a single to end the game, and that's gone for another 4 as well from Tucker's point of view. So the runs are starting to flow now for the Leinster Lightning, who were 40 for 3 at one stage, and they've added 60 plus for this, the 4th wicket. Tucker and Dockrell looking in good form, and Tucker now joining the party up to 24.
And Tucker needs these runs as well. John struggled in Utrecht for Ireland and hasn't had the best start to the season. Just the 150 so far against the Reds. A little 28 not out cameo in the opening game as the Lightning got home comfortably against the Reds, but he's been shy of runs so far this season, Ireland's main wicketkeeper batsman. This partnership is a crucial one, not just for the Lightning today, but going forward for the rest of this IP20. Not just this weekend, but leading into next weekend. They'll have been shell-shocked with their defeat yesterday. Look at this, John. The Brains Trust. William Porterfield, Andrew McBrien. They're just trying to work out what is the best thing to do here. How can they support Graham Kennedy to give him the protection that he needs? It's a short boundary straight, and I've no doubt that's where both Lorcan Tucker and George Dockrell are strong. They're going to try hit it straight and also over long on down towards Willfield Road here. Kennedy is going to be targeted. There's no doubt about that. There's going to be action here, one with either runs or wickets.
Yeah, there's 3 fielders on the leg side, deep mid-wicket cow corner, and along on William Porterfield at long off just in front of us. As Kennedy continues with his second over, but the runs are flowing here. Down comes Dockrell again. He's just not content to be sitting there pushing the 1s and 2s. He's making the Warriors work. And even the fact that the wicketkeeper Donaghy is up with the stumps, Dockrell's not afraid to leave his crease.
Good bowling. Followed the batsman. Tucker tried to give himself room outside the leg stump. Kennedy's not a big turner of the ball. He's been clever enough there to go on with the arm, give Tucker no room to work with. Singles are fine for the Warriors. They won't mind singles. Just trying to protect the big hits, the 4s and the maximums in particular down the ground.
Porterfield, good shot that. He had to move a long way to his left-hand side to try and cut that off, but it was hit with such venom and such power. There was no way he was going to do that. And another 4 to the total
This is phenomenal batting. Over extra cover. There's a fielder right there, Andy McBride. Porterfield out at long off, but it beats both of them. Great stuff from Dockrell.
One, 3 for 3 after being 40 for 3. In fact, 40 for 2 and then 40 for 3. A good effort between these two. Last ball of this Kennedy over. Down on one knee. Well, you're going to have to go down looking in the bushes for that one. What a tremendous hit to end that, the 13th over. That's a tremendous hit from Tucker.
Lorcan Tucker's a very exciting young player. The way he hits the ball when he's at his best is magnificent. Full flourish of the bat down the ground. That's gone down to Willfield Road. Might be an early wake up for the Balbirnies down there. Just a few houses down. 119 for 3 after 13. I'll thank John Kenny for the moment. I'll chat to you later, John, and bring Andrew Blair-White in to join me. Andrew Leonard. 7 overs remain. Wasp up to 191. Andrew, this partnership for the Lightning, outstanding.
Yeah, it's been a fantastic partnership. We saw it on Friday when these two came together to put themselves over the line in their first game of the weekend. Both have been striking the ball superbly today. A few big shots from Lorcan Tucker over the top.
That one's hit down towards long on, and it's picked out the man. Shane Getgate, you get your best fielders into the key positions. And just when we thought the Lightning were going to get right on top, the change in bowling, bringing Ross Allen in, the left arm spinner. You've got to back your spinners. Good captaincy. McBride comes out. Allen comes in. Dockrell tries to smash him. The first delivery can't get it over the head of Shane Getgate, and Dockrell falls.
Yeah, it's good smart bowling from Ross Allen of his first delivery, just slightly following Dockrell there, just cramping that space to really free the arms. It's been an excellent innings again from the Leinster Lightning captain. 44 from just 32 deliveries, but it's a really important wicket for the Northwest Warriors. They have to try and stunt this Lightning momentum in the next few overs.
Good innings that from George Dockrell, 44 off 32 deliveries. His second highest ever in T20 cricket. We're just referring to how little he's batted up the order in his T20 career. It's his 144th T20 appearance today. But an awful lot of that time he spent down. He hasn't even batted. He only batted 57 times in those 144 games. He's only got 570 odd runs. So 48 not out the other day was his career best. 44 today, his second best. Looked very comfortable, very competent. Jamie Grassi to the crease now at number 6. But immediately a wicket always brings about a change in the run rate, a change in the attitude to the approach.
Yeah, certainly a bit more buzz now in this Northwest fielding side.
Good work from William McClintock. Picks up one-handed. Made good ground to it. Grassi was always getting home, so Grassi off the mark. Tucker will have to pick up the mantle now. We've spoken a few times about the Lightning having a slightly long tail. Tim Tector, the last really recognised batsman in at number 7. He'll be in next. Then JJ Garth at 8. Didn't do much yesterday. Good partnership though between Barry McCarthy and Josh Little, an entertaining partnership, although the game was really gone at that stage yesterday. Andrew, you're away playing cricket. We missed your voice with us.
Yep, exactly, but I managed to watch a bit of it on the stream. And it was actually great for the competition, the results yesterday. Seeing the Northern Knights and the Munster Reds bounce back to the extent where we're going into today's fixtures with all these teams having just won the once.
Brilliant stuff from Ross Allen. He's picked as a left-arm spinner. He bats 11. You have to bowl him. Being brought on in the 14th over, that is not the kind of love you want to show your spinners. But he's responded brilliantly. 1 for 2 in the over. And I hope, for his sake and the Warriors' sake, he's given a few more overs now.
Yeah, I've been quietly very impressed with Ross Allen whenever I've seen him so far this year. He bowled very well and took key wickets for them up in Eglinton in a game against the Munster Reds. He took 3 wickets late on. Seems to be able to bowl at the back end of innings, which is a good little kind of side thing for a spinner to have, to be able to be bowling at very various different elements of the game. Looking back on yesterday, Andrew, who stood out to you as anyone maybe that you weren't expecting that batted or bowled above expectations?
Well, I think Matt Ford just continues to deliver over and above perhaps what some think of him. Some think of him maybe as a club player who just biffs club attacks around the place for Malahide, but shown again yesterday. It was such an impressive innings against what is a very good Warriors attack. They were in big trouble. They needed 7.5, 8 and over. Wickets had just fallen around them. No Tyrone Kane. And the way he batted, the calmness with which he batted, and the aggression, we always know he's capable of scoring at a high strike rate. Is he the kind of guy maybe we'll see in and around the Irish setups in future years? Be kind of a unique one, that, wouldn't it? National head coach picking their son in a national squad. He might have to take the 5th when it comes to selection. But yeah, certainly those who've stood out for me so far this weekend, Ben White has come in with a big reputation. That's been enhanced in a big way. Young leg spinner. Glorious. Absolutely glorious from Lorcan Tucker. You can see Andy White is watching him the whole way. Sorry, Andy McBride is watching him the whole way down the track, not allowing him to get down to him, but Tucker's beaten him. He's come down at the last second, stepped across, has got into a powerful position, and he's smashed it. It's clattered into the house there. A magnificent blow. Big 6.
Yeah, well, those houses on Millfield Road are getting a fierce battering here from Lorcan Tucker. The third one, he's hit straight. And as you say, Andrew, just beautiful timing and also that late movement. Very hard to do as a batter, but this has been a really good innings from Tucker. 41 from 21. And from a Lightning perspective, you obviously want him to go on and score real big innings here.
Slower through the air, tempting Tucker, and Tucker says, thank you very much, I'll help myself to 6 more. Not as convincing a stroke this time, maybe even beaten a tiny bit in the flight from McBride, but Tucker's not going to mind about that. Back-to-back 6s, brilliant batting on his home ground.
Yeah, and he's taking the really aggressive route to McBride. He's hoisted another one out there.
The full toss is not punished. The pressure was on McBride. So frugal usually. He's been pumped today. Already gone for 39, still 1 delivery left. Tucker 3 runs shy of a 50. And he's not going to get there just yet, but critically, he will keep the strike. 48 from 24 he has. He's going at exactly 200. What a knock. 15 overs gone. It is 136 for 4.
Yeah, it's been a serious knock so far from Lorcan Tucker, and as you say, Andrew, we have not become accustomed to Andy McBride going at 10 and over. 4 overs for 40 today for him. Tucker's really put it up to him there, especially in that final over, and he's come out on top, which is very good for the young Irish wicketkeeper. But this 5 overs absolutely imperative for the overall picture of this game, whether Tucker can keep going and get the Lightning up to that 190 score.
Tucker's going to keep going, but only 1 bounce in front of long on this time. Good to see Ross Allen being kept on. Wasp hovering, waiting to sting up around 180, 190. Can it go north of 200? 5 overs to work with here. Garassi has to join the party with Tucker, really. Hasn't been able to find his timing yet, just yet, Jamie Garassi.
No, he hasn't, but at the moment, probably the best thing is to try get Lorcan Tucker back on strike. So he's done that successfully. And see whether Lorcan can continue this 6-hitting barrage.
Yeah, that's going to be 50. 50 on his home ground here. The Pembroke and Leinster Lightning man. He'll get back for 2 as well. It's been a really impressive innings. Almost a call of 3 as there's a fumble in the field. And the home crowd rises to him down the wall. A fantastic knock. He hasn't been in the greatest of form, but at nearly a strike rate of 200, 4 6s and 2 4s. A magnificent knock. The second T20 50 of his career. And is he going to hole out? He is, just after going to 50, which was his previous best score of 51. He's matched that and he's given it away. The change to Ross Allen has worked. He's bowled a really impressive couple of overs. He's dragging the Warriors back into it. He's got the two big scalps, Dockrell and now Tucker.
Yeah, really good bowling yet again from Ross Allen. Again, following the Lightning batters when they're trying to make those advances down the pitch. Howling out to long off, and Lorcan Tucker will be disappointed after such a good innings, 51 of 27 deliveries, that he hasn't been able to kick on and get the Lightning up to that really big score. But fantastic to see Tucker back in the runs and hitting the ball as cleanly as that more than anything, showing the great intent and also the ability to execute.
I tell you, one of the most frustrated men, wherever he is in the world, I don't know if he's in the ground today, is going to be the Irish national head coach Graham Ford. He's been very implicit about the fact that he wants batsmen, when they get in, to go big. Whether it be in the T20 format, obviously it's much easier in the 50 over format, you've got more time to work with. But we're into game 5 now. Into the 9th innings of the tournament. The highest score so far from anyone has been 54. And that, for me, is going to be one of the big takeaways. None of the batsmen who are getting in are cashing in and staying there. Lots of really impressive cameos. Lots of innings we've all really enjoyed. But how have we not seen a 70, an 80, a 90, or even 100 yet here in the IP20? Big appeal surely sliding down to Tim Tector, his first delivery. You see leg by indicated. No turn and offer, so that one going on to miss leg stump.
Yeah, it's a very good point you make about that, Andrew. And that's probably what's prevented us from seeing the really big scores as well, those 190, 200 scores.
But what is it? Why are the Irish batters at all levels, outside of William Porterfield's century there and the 50 over competition on Tuesday, we just haven't seen high scores? And maybe in May you could have made some excuses with the early season pitches, but here the wickets have been good. Outfield's been fast. The bowlers just have the wood and the batters at the moment.
Yeah, and there doesn't, as you say, there isn't too many excuses, and I think that's what's really setting apart when you look at the records of Paul Stirling and Andy Balbirnie for Ireland and at interprovincial level as well. It's not really the getting from 0 to 30, it's the fact that when they get in, they do score, and they score big runs. And we were up in Comber when Andy Balbirnie made his 100 earlier this year, and you were talking about how good a success rate he has from 50 to 100, and it's a very hard thing to do as a batter. I think it's actually underestimated how hard it is, but it is something that would be frustrating for Graham Ford, because you've got Lorcan Tucker in there, 51 off 26 deliveries, first ball after getting to 50, he's just wound one straight down long off's throat.
He's given it away.
He's thrown it away, and he had an 80 not out on the table for him.
Craig Young back into the attack, that one keeping a little low. And maybe, again, just angling down. It was really only a stifled appeal. All of a sudden, with these 2 overs up their sleeve of Craig Young, the impressive couple of overs from Ross Allen, it's bringing the Warriors right back into the game. The Leinster Lightning, they're stifled.
Yeah, exactly. And Craig Young's exactly the type of guy you want to be bowling at new batters here. We've mentioned about the Lightning tail as well. If they were to nip Jamie Grassie or Tim Tector or both in the next overs too, this may crumble away.
Down the track, no real timing again from Grassie. He struggled so far, 5 from 9 deliveries, not the momentum or what you need from your power hitters in the middle order. Just had a message through on social media, so the Lightning aren't promoting Barry McCarthy or Josh Little just yet after yesterday's heroics with the bat.
No, we might see one of them in at number 8 though, I'd say, especially given this juncture of the game, just 22 deliveries left.
It's a good strike from Tim Tector, and William Porterfield nearly clings on to a specky. You're always going to see him go for it, there's no doubt about that. He could have bailed out and maybe taken it on one bounce, but he's gone for the catch, and that would have been unbelievable. It was powerfully pulled by Tector, quite straight. Porterfield can't get a hand on it.
No, we've seen some serious catches this year, but if William Porterfield had pulled that one off, it would have been right up there with the best of them. He has to go for it in those situations. It's within his wants.
Pulled again by Tim Tector, you can see the tactics here to the youngster. It's a tough school, professional cricket. Craig Young, Ireland's probably his leading strike bowler at the moment, certainly in recent times. Young man coming to the crease, fresh in his career. They're going to bounce him out. Consecutive short balls. The first one, Tector, is good enough to pull away for 4. He can just get off strike for a single here. What's Garassi going to do? How's he going to find a way to get the run rate moving? He's going to go over the offside. He's going to use the feet dancing down the track. Young has gone to length, surprisingly. Not the block hole, not the shorter delivery. And Garassi gets it away, gets his account starting to move. 4 runs to him.
Yeah, it was in that slot length for Jamie Grassi. He's gone down the pitch. It's a good shot. And as always, down towards the Pembroke Pavilion, it's always going to be 4 there. As you say, Craig Young just caught between 2 stools there.
That one comes off the outside edge. We'll just get down to third man for a single. Yeah, perhaps a surprising choice of length from Young for his closing 2 deliveries. That over goes for 11. Keeps the run rate at bang on 9. 17 overs gone. The Lightning 153 for 5.
And it's good to see that Ross Allen's going to be continued with from the St. John's end. 2 for 7 from 2 overs. Has been a potentially game-changing spell here from Allen.
So look at this. Ross Allen brought into the attack very late in the innings. He's going to bowl a third. Tector down the track, heaves that into the leg side. No real timing, going to be work to do for Graham Kennedy in the deep. Garassi is quick and we'll get back.
Yeah, good bowling again from Ross Allen, though, varying his pace to a great degree.
That's a glorious shot from Tim Tector. Known as a power hitter, even though he's only 18 years of age, giving himself room outside the leg stump and gets it away over the offside. Takes the aerial route over extra cover. Really good batting.
Yeah, fantastic from Tim Tector. It was good to see him in the runs yesterday, hitting a few big sixes and certainly maybe coming of age. It's been, as you regarded to it an over or 2 ago, Andrew, it's a tough school, this professional cricket lark, and it's probably taken him a fair few games to maybe get into it, get his opportunities, but he is a immensely talented young batter.
And he's going to fall. You're going to unfortunately give him the curse. Looking to access the offside again, and it just skews off the outside edge. A simple catch held by Kyle McGee into the side today. A 3rd wicket for Ross Allen. Brilliant stuff from him. Give him the 4th one. Let him bowl out. He's doing a fantastic job for the Warriors. Career best for Tector yesterday with 27. I'm reminded by his father behind me that he is 17 years of age. Cricinfo continues to be wrong. He is not 18. Goes for 11 today, but it comes off 6 deliveries. Good strike rate from Tector. He's falls. The 6th wicket is down. 160 for 6.
Yeah, and we're going to see a promotion up the order for Barry McCarthy, which doesn't come as too much of a surprise, I suspect.
Big Barry McCarthy. Always enjoy watching him bat, but we said it yesterday, probably doesn't like the spinners anything near as much as he likes the seamers. But what was good from him yesterday, he just was taking the singles off the spinners, getting down onto strike and trying to pongo the seamers. Can certainly clear the ropes. We've seen that for both Ireland and Leinster. And he's going to go down and try and clear the ropes. The very first delivery, he's not going to quite do that. Really good work in the deep. Saving 1 run in the end because they're going to get back for 3. Great running. Aggression immediately from McCarthy. He's not going to hang about first ball. He tries to smash it for 6, doesn't get all of it.
Yeah, good intent and very good work this from Shane Getgate on the long on boundary. At this stage of the innings, every run does count, and every run will count in that run chase for the Northwest Warriors.
We're going to see it given as 4. Just wonder, one of the fielders perhaps deciding that Shane Getgate maybe just stepped on the rope as he was flicking the ball back in. Getgate, a very honest man, so perhaps just putting his hand up and saying he thinks that went for 4. Tried his best to restrict it. Means McCarthy will keep the strike. One more delivery to work with from Allen, and he's going to keep the strike again. Good stuff from McCarthy. 2 overs remain. What can the Lightning get to? It's 165 for 6.
Yeah, 2 big overs these. If you were Andy McBride, would you be keeping Ross Allen on for that 4th over on the 20th, or is that a bit of too much of a risk, spinner bowling the last?
I think they should probably go Hume the 19th and Young the 20th. But this is the problem when you bring your spinners into the game so late. You end up with a position where, even though the pick of the bowlers has been Allen with his 3 for 19 from 3 overs, and it wasn't a plan. It's not like it was a Rashid Khan plan. Afghanistan use Rashid Khan. They say you're going to bowl the 14th, the 16th, the 18th and the 20th overs of the innings, come hell or high water. Now he's the most economical bowler in the world, so it helps. But that's part of a strategy from them, because they know that the opposition can't advance their hitting. This wasn't a strategy holding Ross Allen back. They went to the medium pace of Getgate, who's bowled 3 overs, done for 29, rather than backing their young spinners. Why are the Leinster Lightning not backing their young leg spinner? It's endemic in Irish cricket. We have to back our spinners. Craig Young going to bowl the 19th over. So could still be Allen to bowl the final. Maybe Hume. Could be Getgate. Let's find out. Young to bowl this from the Wilfield Road end. Barry McCarthy's going to hit that down towards long off, who takes an absolutely sensational catch. He lifts his arms up above the sky right in front of our commentary position. Pumped by Barry McCarthy to Kyle McGee, who's clung on, was going to carry his momentum over the rope for 6. Just as it was about to go for 6, he tosses it back into the air. Look at this. Picked up, and he's back in just in time. That's out. He's saved 6 runs, and he's got the wicket of McCarthy.
Simply brilliant from Kyle McGee, the young man brought into the side today for Jared Wilson. He's an excellent young player, good batter, and we're seeing now his efforts in the field as well. Those ones are so hard, especially at long off, because the ball is coming to you hard, very hard to understand the depth coming at you as well. But he's done brilliantly there, and as you say, not only saves 6, but gets rid of the very useful Barry McCarthy.
That was hammered. That was so flat. It was like a tracer bullet. It was right into the slot from Young. McCarthy held his shape well and smashed it. I think it's exactly where he was looking to hit it. Just didn't get that extra couple of yards of elevation that would have sent it over McGee's head and would have put us into trouble. McGee just 4 or 5 yards in front of us. Wouldn't have fancied you stopping that one, Andrew.
No, I was really hoping that McGee was going to do a favour for us, as he has done. It's good to see, though, they do an awful lot of work before these games over those sort of catches on the rope. Good to see it being implemented into the game situation.
Yeah, and they practice this now, don't they? More and more often. Good stuff from Garassi. Gets it into the leg side and immediately calls 2. JJ Garth has joined him. He's in at number 9 at the non-striker's end. They did get across. I didn't get to see McCarthy's reaction because I was watching the ball, but I'm going to look back at that. I reckon he can't believe what's just happened there. He thought that was 6 when he hit it, surely.
I think so. And we've seen a few of those this week. It was brilliant looking back at Simi Singh's reaction to Fionn Hand's catch on Friday. I don't think he could believe it. He thought it was going to be 4 straight off the bat. McCarthy thinking he was going to get a 6 there. Just a single. Warriors won't mind that. Yeah, I'm just looking back in the replay on my own screen in front of me, and it was lovely to see Craig Young straight over to him. Big double high five, the arm around the shoulder and a rub on the head for the young man. It's a great sort of culture building up in this Warriors side. They seem so together as a unit for the first time in many years. Yeah, exactly, and I think it's been shown throughout their performances this year. Gary Wilson's come in, he's done brilliantly, and they've recaptured the spirit of Northwest cricket.
JJ Garth looking for the scoop shot, and because it was a short delivery, ends up kind of trying to roll it over his shoulder. Doesn't make any contact. Paul Reynolds deciding, even though Garth has come across his stumps, it was too far to the leg side, so he signalled wide.
Yeah, it wasn't actually a bad option from Garth with fine leg in the ring, but fine leg now has gone back. Ross Allen's back to fine leg there, and Kyle McGee has come into mid-off. Also a change of field with mid-wicket coming into the ring, third man going back.
Garth goes through the offside, and we've just seen a brilliant catch. That one would have been even better. Going to his right like a goalkeeper. Graham Kennedy, his weaker hand, remember, he's a left arm bowler. He might have just got a fingertip on that.
Yeah, I think he did get a hand to this. It was a good hand as well, because it's actually stopped 4 in the end. Nathan Maguire's done well on the cover boundary. But that would have been another spectacular catch, and the standard of catches we've seen this year in every sort of game we've done has been absolutely magnificent.
Goes to the block up. That's surely where Young should have been in the prior over. Was surprised he was going length. Good executor of a block hole Yorker. The Lightning just haven't got away from the Warriors towards the end of this innings. The Wasp has been steady around the 180. I don't think the Lightning are going to get above that.
No, you'd find it hard to think that they're going to get up to that 190 score now. They might get up to 185.
Block hole again. That's where to bowl it. It's not rocket science. It's keeping the game simple. When you bowl up towards 90 miles an hour and you're capable of hitting your Yorker, you can probably go for it 4 or 5 times out of 6 at the death. It's not going to put you too far wrong. Too good for Garassi. Can only dig it out. Brilliant bowling.
Yeah, seriously good from Craig Young. Great implementation of skills there. It looks like that $1 million question is going to be Graham Hume to bowl the final over, which I must confess I'd have liked to have seen Ross Allen bowling this last over. He's done well at the death before for the Warriors, and I always feel aggrieved when you've got a bowler that's 3 for 19 from 3 overs not bowling out. I just don't understand that logic. He's already gotten 3 very key wickets with guys trying to attack him. It's not like he's gone for any amount of runs.
Yeah, they've probably gone for the more cautious option. You'd have to think that Hume unlikely to go for a mammoth over. You know, this could well go for 10 or 12, but it's unlikely to go for 20 or 25, which they might have been worried that if Garth or Grassi had got after Allen could have happened. And Hume, such an experienced cricketer, you know, starts perfectly there, thuds it into the pad. I think Garth in particular likes playing against spin. He'd have fancied his chances against Allen. So I can understand the decision, but again, I don't think that's the problem. The problem is Allen not being brought into the attack early enough, Kennedy not being brought into the attack early enough.
That's something they'll learn from as well. But it does seem to be a little bit harsh on Ross Allen, who's bowled very well when used so far this year. There's been a few games he hasn't even made the side.
Lovely shot from JJ Garth, because it was a really good delivery. He's managed to get that away and get back for 2. His batting certainly improving. Haven't seen enough of his leg spin for my liking this weekend. Bowled just 1 over. He played all 3 matches. Were you surprised to see Rory Anders not brought into the team today for the Lightning?
Potentially so. But it's hard to know what they are thinking of with JJ Garth's role in the team. You'd assume his role in the team is to bowl leg spin, and yet he hasn't been used in that capacity.
Smashed down the ground, a really good shot, and great work again in the deep. Shane Getgate. Best fielders into the key positions. One of the key positions at the death. That's it long on. Saves a couple.
Yeah, good striking from Garth though, and this is an important little innings from him. Already 7 off 4 deliveries. Unlucky actually in his last 2 shots to have not gotten a boundary. Hume just failing a little bit to get into his Yorker length there. Ends up being a little bit in the slot, but not too bad. Not a big miss, and probably a better miss than going short, obviously, at this time of the innings.
Yeah, good stuff from Garth, but he can only pick out the man in the deep. So Garassi just 15 off 16. He's going to have 2 more deliveries to try get that strike rate up. Can he find the boundary a couple of times? Can he find a maximum somehow?
That's what the Leinster Lightning will be hoping for. That Grassi can get one out of the screws here. If Hume does miss his length. That's really well done from Graham Hume, though. Brilliantly executing his Yorker skills, and Grassi just unfortunately hasn't been able to get hold of that. It's very hard to do so, especially at this time of the innings. The likes of Craig Young and Graham Hume executing as well as they have.
And Andrew, if you're going to be staying with us, make sure to stay tuned during the break. We're going to have our Beyond the Boundary chat. We've been doing those all throughout the festival. Isabel Joyce, the former Ireland women's captain, going to join me in just a few moments.
Yeah, JJ Garth pushing that into the leg side off an inside edge. It's going to be another 2. He'll be a little bit disappointed not to have gotten that boundary in the final over, but a good little knock from Garth, 10 off 6, and that concludes the Leinster Lightning innings. 182 for 7, which I suspect was around bang on. There was times they looked like they would get less than 182. There were times that, especially when Dockrell and Tucker were at their work, that you thought they might be nearing 200. But overall, it's a pretty fair score. It's going to have to be chased down impressively by the Northwest Warriors if they are to get close. But hopefully we'll be in store for a really exciting run chase.
Yeah, the Lightning will feel potentially like they've left a few out there, I reckon. If you're offered 182, having lost the toss and being asked to bat first, you'll probably take it. But Andrew, their momentum after the loss of Dockrell and Tucker, who were so well set, it never quite picked up. A few blows from Tim Tector. Very short innings from Barry McCarthy. Boundary off his first ball, but then caught with that spectacular catch. And those small moments, those little 1%ers, will just give the Northwest Warriors hope with the batting prowess and talent and power that they have in their side. The Warriors will fancy themselves to maybe chase this down.
Yeah, I don't think they'll be afraid of it whatsoever. 9 and over or in and around that. So we have a look at the Leinster Lightning scorecard there on your screens. Andy Balbirnie, I thought, looked absolutely excellent this morning for his 24. He was very disappointed to get out the way he did. But that main partnership between George Dockrell with his 44 and Lorcan Tucker, his 51, really got them up to that score of 182. Both will be a little bit disappointed, though. Both of them getting out when in and looked like they were going to press on to really big scores. And as you say, Andrew, it just stunted the momentum a little bit. Grassi 16 not out. Tector with 11 off 6. Garth with 10 off 6, helping them to get up to 182 for 7.
And again, that issue, as we've seen throughout the week, no massive scores, some good partnerships. A partnership between Dockrell and Tucker in particular was an outstanding one, but look at all those other partnerships. Stops and starts, wickets falling regularly, Andrew.
Yeah, and it just kills momentum as a batting team when you're just losing wickets, should I say, at key intervals of the game. And the wickets of Dockrell and Tucker came at very opportune times for the Northwest Warriors and inopportune times for the Leinster Lightning, just when they were putting their foot against the accelerator. Having a look there at the Warriors bowling, superb yet again from Craig Young. 3 for 24 from his 4 overs. Ross Allen also impressive with his 3 for 19 off 3. Me and Andrew have thought that he was potentially brought in to the attack a little bit too late in the end, not being able to bowl his 4 overs. But the Northwest Warriors will be happy enough with their bowling effort to keep the Leinster Lightning to 182 and just keeping a lid on it. And they certainly will fancy their chances of having a go with this run chase.
Yeah, they certainly will. Andrew, I'm going to get out and get ready to have our Beyond the Boundary chat with Isabel Joyce. I'll leave you for the moment. Perhaps you might just give us a run through the points table. Tell us where all the teams are at right now.
Yes, exactly. And it's very, very good competition at the moment. And the results yesterday really brought an extra layer to it. I think a lot of people would have gone into yesterday thinking that the Leinster Lightning and the Northwest Warriors were the two teams to beat, but both of them suffered reverses. The Northern Knights so excellently beating the Leinster Lightning. And then the Munster Reds getting their first win of the year on the board when denying the Northwest Warriors in the second game of the day yesterday, which means that now all of them have won one game apiece and all to play for today as we go in to the run chase, with the Northwest Warriors requiring 183 to win from their 20 overs. I'm delighted to now pass over to Andrew Leonard and Isabel Joyce for their chat in our interval.
Yeah, thank you and welcome to Beyond the Boundary, day 3 of the IP20 festival. This is going to be a regular feature. We've got a new name. I was getting a bit confused as to what to call it over the last few days, so we've christened it Beyond the Boundary. About 15 minutes we've got, and we've got one of the legends, one of the icons of Irish cricket, one of my co-commentators as well, Isabel Joyce, to come and join me to reflect on the Irish Women's Series during the summer and talk about all things women's cricket ahead for the summer. Isabel, you're down, before we get into women's cricket, you're down with your husband, who was in the runs again yesterday from Erin. He can't stop making runs, John Anderson.
Yeah, we were on holidays this week, so he couldn't train, and now I think he's got the excuse he won't have to train again, it looks like. No, he's really enjoying his club cricket, and having our son Jamie on the sideline, I think, motivates him more.
And he had a teammate yesterday. I get a little bit of criticism occasionally for getting overexcited. This is the most exciting news of the year. Ed Joyce back on the pitch, getting runs for Merrion. 28 he made yesterday in a big win against North Kildare.
I think I sold you a dummy there. I think it was 38. We don't want to
38. Oh God,
yeah.
sorry. Apologies, Ed.
I was asking him about it. I said, "Hey, did you enjoy it?" And he said he really enjoyed it. The main thing was he hit the first boundary, and he said then he was happy. Once he got off the mark, he was like, "Okay, this is fine." But I think fielding down at third man was a little bit of an unusual one for him. But
maybe a demotion for him down the order.
I think he said he ran down there himself. So.
That was it done. So Isabel, you had an incredibly fine career yourself. 1 Test match, 79 ODIs, 55 T20Is. Does it already feel like a long time ago?
It does, actually, and people tell you all the time you're a long time retired. It couldn't be more true. I mean, I thought about retiring a number of times before I did, and I'm glad that I didn't when I thought about it those previous times. But they said when you know, and I definitely knew at the end that it was time to go. But it's only been 3 years. It feels like about 10.
We were really happy to have you up in the commentary box with us for the entire week of the first international cricket in more than 2 seasons for Ireland. It was Ireland Women against Scotland Women, the Celtic International Challenge Series. It was all a bit doom and gloom after game 1. Ireland couldn't chase down, I think it was 87, but how well did they turn it around to come back and win the series 3-1?
Yeah, so well, it took a lot of character to come out the way they did game 2. I think it was Rebecca Stokel hit a boundary in that first over, the second game, and just settled the nerves. You could see that they'd put kind of a few demons to bed after they lost to Thailand in the previous World T20 qualifiers, and they couldn't chase a low total then. Then they repeated that in the first game against Scotland, and then they just put that to bed. Game 2, 3 and 4, and lots of different people performing, which is pleasing to see. Let's
talk about a few of those players. It's a very young squad. I think the average age of that squad is actually something around 20. Only Shauna Kavanagh and Laura Delaney in the squad that was playing that of any sort of long-standing international career, but some of the young performers stood up. Gabby Lewis, Leah Paul, Orla Prendergast, maybe the 3 picks for the Irish team, the 3 star performers of the week.
Yeah, they were definitely the pick, but I think what was most impressive to me is that there were lots of little small cameos from the players around, and we wouldn't have necessarily have had that in the past. You kind of 3 or 4 big all-rounders, and then other people in T20, as you know yourself, you don't necessarily get a big opportunity to perform, but like the likes of Leah Paul and Rachel Delaney coming in down the order, it just shows how strong the batting lineup is, that those 2 who would bat at the top of the order in the Arica's Super 50 and Super 20 series, that they're coming in down. It just kind of shows the depth that's there, and that's without a number of players as well being available, like Mary Waldron, who's just come back, in Raymond Hoey, Emer Richardson not part of that team. So it's just starting to get a little bit exciting to see there's such a group there, and they'll hopefully grow together. It's a nice young team, as you said, which means that they're kind of at the same stage in their lives.
They also seem to play the game with great joy. We referred to it several times. There was so much disappointment over the winter with 2 aborted series against Scotland. Both of those were supposed to be hosted in La Manga, but then COVID got in the way with regulations both in Ireland and Scotland not making it possible. But the joy, the happiness with which they played. Laura Moritz, another star performer during the week, and they've taken that forward into the Super Series. Gabby Lewis in particular, that 100 up in Malahide. Is the future all of a sudden looking quite bright for Irish women's cricket?
It is, because you always want competition so that people want to get in the team. I'd say there were a few nervous people outside of the squad who couldn't play. I saw Sophie McMahon a couple of weeks ago. She was unable to be in that series because of work commitments. And she was like, I don't know if I can get back in this team. I think she will, but I don't know who she's going to knock out. And those kind of nerves are really good because it pushes people to train harder. And that's what you want as a coach. You know, you want people driving each other on rather than you having to ask them to train hard. They feel they have to train hard to get what they want.
I want to talk a bit about the women's game, the progression of the women's game in general, but before that, let's look at the summer ahead for Ireland. Richard Holsworth we had on yesterday on Beyond the Boundary. He didn't know it was called Beyond the Boundary at that point, but he came and joined us. He told us there's definitely another international series. He couldn't confirm who it was going to be against next month in July, hopefully here in Ireland. That's a big deal. A couple of games against the Northwest Thunder. How much will the women enjoy going to get to play in Old Trafford of all places?
Yeah, I think it's just one game, unfortunately.
Sorry.
It's on the 1st of July. It just confirmed that there with one of the girls. But yeah, they're really excited to, play different opposition is huge because you have to think on your feet, and it's something that they won't have done in a while. Obviously, the domestic season, they play against each other a lot. So an opportunity to think on their feet, and bowlers, if they get hit, they have to go to plan B, plan C. So all those kinds of things are really important. And then hopefully that international series ahead of a couple of really, really big qualifying tournaments later in the summer.
Yeah, let me explain those pathways to you. The ICC pathways at times can be maybe not complicated, but just there's such depth to them, they can be difficult to understand. And the reason they can be difficult to understand is from an Irish perspective, the last qualifier in Scotland was a bit of a disaster, not getting to the T20 World Cup, Thailand taking Ireland's place and Bangladesh taking the 2 qualification spots down in Australia for that fantastic tournament. We saw a sold out final at the MCG just before the pandemic hit. But what that's meant is that Ireland have dropped back to the regional qualifiers for the next T20 World Cup. So they're going to have to go to the European qualifier where there'll just be one spot. France, Germany, Ireland, Turkey, Scotland and the Netherlands with only one place. You probably won't know a huge amount about France and Turkey in particular. The German women's game developing hugely, and then Scotland and the Netherlands are always going to be formidable opponents as well. Only one place on offer, Isabel.
Yeah, it's nerve-wracking, isn't it? Like, especially T20 cricket, anything can happen. And there's a few big players in both the Scottish and Netherlands teams in particular. We saw Catherine and Sarah Bryce, who probably didn't perform how they would have wanted to for the Scotland team. We've got a couple of really good spinners, Abtaha Maksud and Catherine Fraser. So they have firepower there. And the Netherlands, probably not as many well-known players, but they do have Ster Callis, who I always say her name wrong. I can't roll my R's, so sorry if you're watching this, Stare. Good pal of mine played a bit of cricket with her in Tasmania, has been contracted professionally in Australia, and now is playing for the Diamonds in England. Did really well for them last year, and she can hit a big ball. She can take a game away from you just by herself. So just need to make sure that they don't slip up like they did in that previous qualifier.
Yeah, Netherlands surprised Scotland again pre-pandemic to take the qualification spot for the second of the 2 qualifiers that we're going to see the Irish women in action this year, which is the ODI qualifier. That's out in Sri Lanka in December 22. I think it's already been postponed 2 if not 3 times, but this time it has to happen, and it's going to be December 2021 this year. 10 teams battling it out for 3 spots, and there's several test nations in this lineup. Bangladesh, Ireland, Pakistan, Zimbabwe, West Indies and Sri Lanka join the qualifiers then. Thailand, Papua New Guinea, USA and Netherlands. And there's 2 aspects to this qualifier, because the top 3 I think go to the Women's World Cup in New Zealand in 2022, but then the sides that finish 4th and 5th will get into the kind of future tours program, get more regular fixtures against the big sides. 50 over games in Sri Lanka, that's going to be a completely different experience for this young Irish side.
Yeah, getting into the championship, that's the top 10 teams, is absolutely huge. It kind of guarantees funding for that cycle, which is really the biggest aim. That's got to be number 1, I think, and then qualifying for the World Cup would be absolutely amazing. But really, really tough to get in the top 3. I think if we can get top 5, they'll find it a success. But I think it's probably just 1 or 2 years too early, possibly, to get into the 50 over World Cup. I could be wrong. They're improving so quickly, but haven't played a lot of 50 over international cricket as a team. So yeah, it's just one of those things, though. Playing in Sri Lanka, you just wish that they could go on a few more tours, play in those conditions, especially with the young team that they have. Not a huge amount of experience there.
Yeah, I think the intention is going to be to get the side out to Sri Lanka as early as possible. I know some discussions with some of the other participating teams, maybe to get a few additional warm-up games. They'll have the 2 mandatory warm-up games, like any of the major ICC events, but hopefully a couple of additional games, maybe against some of the local Sri Lankan sides, and then maybe some of the other competing teams. But explain to me the challenge. You've played against all these teams. How difficult will it be for Ireland against West Indies, Sri Lanka on home soil, Pakistan? A lot of these sides are fully professional, aren't they, as well?
They're all fully professional, those teams you've mentioned, and they just have a lot of experience of 50 over cricket from being in this championship. Before it was 18s, it's now being expanded to 10. And as you can see from even just the cricket being played in the Super Series, the more cricket you play, the more you learn on your feet. And what I would really like to see is a separate tour. It's important that you have that time when you come back to reflect, to work on things, and then go back out. We saw the Irish men's Wolves playing in Bangladesh, really tough tour, and I think they were dying to come home. But once you come home and you think about it, you have a bit of distance, you can put things into place, and then you can go back out and do better next time. When you play those games before a tournament, if it doesn't go well, it can nearly actually be worse than having gone out a bit later. So I think that needs to change going forward. I appreciate why it's not happening at the moment, but I would like to see the next time, it's always the next time, that there is a separate tour, and then they come back and then go to the next tournament.
Can you give me a sense of the realistic expectations? You think qualification, automatic qualification for the World Cup in 2022, maybe a bridge too far? Can we get that 4th or 5th spot and get into that ICC Women's Championship?
I think so. I think with the coach that they have in my brother Ed, obviously hugely experienced in batting long. I think that's what's been missing for the Irish team for a long time. We haven't known how to bat 50 over cricket. We saw Gabby Lewis really coming of age in the Arcus Super 50. She's really exciting. They need a few more people to get to where she is. I think Shauna Kavanagh plays a really good role. Laura Delaney didn't get an opportunity, but she's going to be huge for them. I played against her a couple of weeks ago, and she's hitting them very well. She just needs to stay not injured.
Are you back playing, Is?
Just about. So there's nothing to write home about. But I kind of hobble around. The spikes are very sore now. I tell you what. Every time I warm up in my trainers because the feet get too sore and the spikes. But it's great to see them on the field, and it's a different game now. It's just, I can't live with the pace, to be honest.
Have you enjoyed getting back to it? Obviously, for those who don't know at home, a recent first child for you, baby Jamie. I met him for the first time down the wall there with John. Have you enjoyed it since motherhood?
Yeah, I'm not dying to get back out there, I'm not going to lie, but I coached the women's team in Clontarf, and I'm keen to help them keep moving forward, and it was great to bat with a couple of the youngsters on Thursday and talk to them in the middle. It's such a big learning curve, and one of our younger players, Aoife Brennan, had a couple of low scores but looked good, and then made a 50 on Thursday, and that's nice to experience. So, but yeah, I love getting them back home to Jamie and peering in him when he's asleep.
The general development and progression of the women's game, I think the ICC's made a hugely concerted effort over the last probably 5 to 6 years in particular to start to advance the women's game, more and more regular T20 World Cups. The T20 World Cup moving to a standalone event. Initially it was a men's and women's event where the women kind of were almost an afterthought. They were always at the games before. They weren't given the prime time billing. That's changed now. So Test cricket return with England playing India in what was a highly entertaining spectacle. What is it that can help grow the women's game and keep moving those things forward, not just globally but also here in Ireland?
Well, if all the clubs could have a women and girls section, that would be great. There's no real reason not to have one, apart from just it hasn't been a focus probably for clubs. That's probably the main thing, getting into schools, and the new initiatives from Cricket Ireland, it's Wicket and Smash It. If those go well, I think that'll be huge for the women's game. Girls love playing sport. They just don't have the same opportunities as boys do in most sports. So when you put it there, when you put it in front of them, when you can see it on the live streams and on the television, it's just growing exponentially. So just the more the better.
The more the better, amen to that. That's Isabel Joyce, the former Ireland women's captain. We're going to hear her commentary with us hopefully again later in the season. We already heard it for the Ireland women's series against Scotland, and stay tuned not just for the chase here in the 5th game of the IP20, but also we'll have some news in the coming days or coming weeks, let's hope, of that confirmation of the Ireland women's series, who that will be against, and whether we'll be able to bring you those live pictures here on Cricket Ireland live television. So that's Beyond the Boundary. That's the halfway stage. We'll thank Isabel Joyce. We'll bid her farewell. Let's get back to the action. See if the Northwest Warriors can chase down this Leinster Lightning total. Who's going to rebound from yesterday's defeat? Will it be the men in blue, or will it be the men from the northwest?
Thank you very much. And Stephen Doherty and William Porterfield are going to open the batting for the Northwest Warriors, who won the toss and decided to field, so they're chasing down a pretty good total. 183 would be a good get. Highest total of the weekend. And the sun has broken through for the reply for the Northwest Warriors. Good batting performance from Leinster Lightning, having lost the early wicket of Kevin O'Brien. Simi Singh with 13, Andy Balbirnie with 24. Good contributions from George Dockrell and Dockrell and Tucker, 44 and 51 respectively. And then runs for Jamie Grassi, Tim Tector and JJ Garth. And a spectacular catch by McGee in front of us here at the boundary. Josh Little underway. And also Northwest Warriors underway with the first run in reply, looking for 183 for victory. Andrew Blair White is with me. It'll be a good get.
Yeah, it would be a very good chase, this, if they were to get it. But they've got a hard-hitting batting lineup, the Northwest Warriors, so if any team is going to chase down 183 and above 9 and over, it will be this side. But Josh Little, who's been so good with the ball in the last month or two, opening up for the Leinster Lightning. And if the Lightning get early wickets here, you'd have to think they'll become favourites for this for this game pretty quickly.
Round the wicket to Donny. It's a little uppish, but he's able to fend that off. And he too is off the mark. Didn't know the best of days behind the stumps, Stephen Donny, but he's a man who's opening the batting with long-time Irish captain William Porterfield, 36 years of age, forced his way back into the Irish lineup in the games against the Netherlands in the World League Series. Didn't really contribute much with the bat there, sadly. Mind you, not a lot of the top of the order outside Sterling and Balbirnie did. Little changes the angle of the attack to William Porterfield, who just runs it off the face of the bat for 3 consecutive singles.
Yeah, good start from the Warriors, just rotating away. Stephen Doherty, who was in the runs on Friday against the Northern Knights, played a beautiful innings there, getting a half century, but will need to score runs today now. If the Northwest Warriors are going to chase this down, they're going to need contributions throughout the innings, starting with a good opening partnership, you'd have to think.
Tries to catch it. It's going to fall short. Out the fielder in the offside. JJ Garth doing the fielding. Left-right combination here as well, Andrew. They're just going to move the field around a lot if they can keep the scoreboard ticking over. That's why Little's been changing the angle of the attack. Opening around the wicket and now going over the wicket to the left-handed Porterfield. One thing I always liked about Porterfield's batting, he does the simple things very well when he's playing, and even in that previous delivery, ran the first one quickly. You never know, little misfield or slip through a fielder's hand, you might be able to collect a second. Always run the first one fast.
Yeah, he's very busy at the crease, William Porterfield. Always looking to score runs and convert those ones into twos. Everything coaches would tell you to do. Is Stephen Downey looking to access over extra cover there. Swinging and missing. A good start from Josh Little. Just 5 runs from that opening over. Northwest Warriors 5 without loss after 1. The Wasp there on the screen. It was on the screen a few seconds ago. Was hovering in and around the 44-45% figure. I think that would probably be a fair enough reflection.
I think so, yeah. That's the way the wicket's playing. It's a good track out there. It's good for batting on. We've seen that at times, and throughout the weekend some of the batsmen have been giving away the wickets a little cheaply, but it's a good surface to bat on. Just that little rise, as you've been saying before, which is just in front of William Porterfield, a little crest in the pitch, which the likes of Barry McCarthy will try to exploit now as he comes on from the St John's Road end. Starting the second over, 183 needed for victory for the Northwest Warriors. That's big, and that's gone for a maximum. Just helped on its way by William Porterfield. That's a terrific shot down towards the tents. And Barry McCarthy with a long hop gets the treatment, and a good start from Porterfield here.
Yeah, it was a bit of a top edge from William Porterfield, but the thing is, when Barry McCarthy's bowling at that sort of pace, almost any sort of helping is going to go the distance, and Porterfield's gone for a full hook shot there. Top edge over fine leg. Fine leg is in the ring, and McCarthy was looking to rough Porterfield up there first up, has failed to do so, and the first maximum of this run chase for the Northwest Warriors.
Yeah, and it's gone missing too, so Kevin Gallagher, a match referee, has to go in with a new ball. He's been busy here. Ball's flying to all round of the ground. I know you were down the Mardyke last week, and there's a lot more hedges down there, and the ball's disappeared quite a bit, but they've been disappearing as well here too in this 20 over format. Oh, better by McCarthy, beats the outside edge. Not a lot of foot movement there from Porterfield, having praised him for it. A little waft in the outside, and didn't miss the bat by much.
No, a good comeback there from McCarthy. Bit of a slower delivery. Porterfield just threw his shot.
Well, wherever you are around the world, get in contact with us. Social media channels are open. That's a lovely shot. And another maximum from this over. William Porterfield's his eyes lit up with that one. Straight over McCarthy's head. 2 sixes in this over. Good stuff from the former Irish captain.
Yeah, it's lovely from William Porterfield. It was slightly in the slot from McCarthy. But that being said, this is a very tough shot to play. Straight over the top, hitting the sight screen on the way. Porterfield certainly starting with that intent that we saw on Friday when the Northwest Warriors chased down the Northern Knights score of 138 in just the 11th over. They can score runs at an extremely high run rate this side. And it's been a good start from Porterfield. 15 off just 6 balls for him so far.
Yeah, unusual. He actually hit that last ball for 6 and then moved the side screen. So he's on to 15. McCarthy goes around the wicket, and that makes no difference. Porterfield looks in good touch out there. Nicely cut away down to the third man boundary for yet another boundary. A couple of 6s and a 4 in this over. This has been very expensive from McCarthy. And only the second over, and they've moved past 20 now. That's social media, Twitter, by the way. If you want to get in contact with us, is at Cricket Ireland. That's at Cricket Ireland. Love to hear from you. Porterfield wanted the quick single, but he's been sent back by Donaghy.
Yeah, really clever batting from William Porterfield in this over. He took on the short ball to start with. Got a 6 over fine leg. Then has pumped a straight one for 6, and McCarthy adjusted his length to just back of a length, and he's guided it past backward point and short third man. Third man had only just come into the ring as well. So very smart batting from the former Irish captain.
Hit on the up. That's Andy Balbirnie does the fielding at cover. And that ends the second over. Expensive one too. Josh Little just 5 from his first over, but 16 from that. Porterfield on to 19. Doheny on 2 at the other end. The run rate bang on 9 runs and over.
It'd be brilliant if this was a tight run chase. It has all the makings of being an excellent one here for the Northwest Warriors, chasing 183 after the Leinster Lightning scoring 182 for 7 earlier this morning, having been put into bat. They were put into bat, and Andy McBride told me at the toss the only real reason was the fact that it was a difficult place to defend runs. And he'll be hoping that certainly comes to fruition.
Change of bowling. Josh Little just got one over, so they brought on David O'Halloran, the 22-year-old from Malahide, part of the Cricket Ireland Academy.
O'Halloran's really been one of the breakout performers of the Interpros this year. He's been excellent with the ball in hand for the Lightning. One of these players that was playing an awful lot of Malahide second 11 cricket for a number of his school years, went over to South Africa for a considerable period of time, came back. There's an extra yard of pace about him.
That's a beautiful shot by Doheny. Doesn't quite clear the boundary ropes, but beautiful crack off the middle of the bat up and over the bowler's head, and another boundary, and the runs are flowing here.
Yeah, a little bit short from O'Halloran, and Doheny playing that shot off length more than anything, clubbing it over mid-on for 4, and as we've seen, the outfield is just so fast.
Now the track he comes, that's in the air. It should be Dockrell's, and is. And having hit one over the bowler's head, Doheny perishes with the score on 25. Regulation catch, really, running to his left-hand side for the Lightning captain. And O'Halloran gets his man.
And he's been doing this all year, David O'Halloran. He just has a knack of taking wickets. And Stephen Doheny's tried to take him on there, and he's ended up miscuing it straight to extra cover, and George Dockrell's taken a, as you said, John, a fairly regulation catch for a man of his standards. And it's a key wicket for the Leinster Lightning. They'll be wanting to just keep chipping away with wickets throughout this run chase, just to halt any sort of momentum the Warriors might have. Doheny will be a little bit disappointed, departing just for 6 today.
And the incoming batsman for the North West Warriors, please give a big warm welcome to Nathan Maguire.
And Nathan Maguire coming in, the 17-year-old from Rush, Ireland under-19 international, to join the experienced 36-year-old William Porterfield. He'll learn a lot if Porterfield hangs around by just watching what the former Irish captain can do. But it's good to see Maguire come in at number 3.
Yes, well, it's been a ploy they've used all weekend with Maguire up the order in the T20 format. You'll struggle to find much cleaner ball strikers in the game in Ireland than Nathan Maguire. It's just about probably converting breezy starts into big runs.
That's a wide. Porterfield trying to reach that. That's Paul Reynolds at this end. Our 2 umpires today, Alan Neal and Paul Reynolds, experienced umpires. Just 6 extras given away by the Warriors when they were bowling, so that was good, tight and compact. There's the Wasp you mentioned, 50%. Porterfield, what a shot that is. That's gone into the gardens. And a big 6 from Porterfield. He's in the mood.
Yeah, it's a brilliant shot from William Porterfield again, just a little short from O'Halloran, and Porterfield needing no second invitation. And good to see the regular Pembroke patrons ushering Wild Bill towards the gardens to hopefully go and collect that ball later on today. A big shot from Porterfield. He moves on to 25 of just 10 deliveries.
Is this Wild Bill here, is it?
Yes,
Climbing the ropes.
Yeah, there he goes. To anyone that's played or seen a lot of cricket at Pembroke, that's a fairly normal circumstance when a ball goes into those gardens.
Oh, it's done him again. This time straight down the ground. And Porterfield looks in imperious form out there. 31 now of just 11 deliveries. And he's making short work. And the Wasp has suddenly gone from 50% to 67%.
Yeah, O'Halloran trying to mix it up here. Maybe a little bit telegraphed with the slower ball. He was in the hitting arc of Porterfield. And when he's in the mood like this, you know that he's got a chance of hitting it, and it's done so to great effect over long off, and it's going to prompt more changes in the Leinster Lightning bowling.
Well, we mentioned Wild Bill about collecting those balls in the houses away to our left-hand side. He stopped me yesterday and said, "I liked your show," and he started talking about Pink Floyd for about 10 minutes. So it was engrossing conversation about Dave Gilmore and the exploits of Dark Side of the Moon. So a change of bowling now at the far end. Just the one expensive over from Barry McCarthy, and it's going to be Simi Singh.
Yeah, they're already going to have to go to spin here. Be interesting to see how Maguire approaches it.
And it's a good diving stop by Singh, goalkeeper style. Diving away to his left, got a hand on that. Run rate's at 12. Brilliant start. Porterfield on 31. Doheny gone for 6. Maguire yet to get off the mark. That's the first ball he faced. Much flatter delivery from Simi Singh. Just pushed that through with a bit of pace.
Well, he varies his pace so well, Singh. Can be often hard to face, especially early on in your innings, like Maguire is having to here.
That's nicely done by Maguire, and that's gone through the covers for 4. And he's off the mark in fine style.
Yeah, lovely shot from Nathan Maguire. Just a hint short from Simi Singh, but not too much really. Maguire's just latched onto that, and as I say, he's as good a timer of a cricket ball as you're going to see for such a young man.
As you can probably see in the background there, some of the cricketers for the second match and the backroom staff arriving. Munster Reds playing against the Knights at 4 o'clock Irish time. Second match of this day 3 of this IP20 festival, the final game in this series. We're going to move to Breedy next week for the same situation. We're going to have 6 matches there. And then in September, somewhere in the Northern Cricket Union, hasn't been decided which venue yet, we'll have supposedly the third and final one, but there is talk about perhaps having another one before the Irish international men's team heads off to the World Cup. Now, where that's going to be is anybody's guess. It was supposed to be in Australia and then India, and then the suggestion now and the possibility is it's going to move to the UAE, which would be a bit of a shame, obviously, because the crowds wouldn't be as big. But obviously we're in the middle of a global pandemic, so beggars can't be choosers. At least we're getting some cricket. Around the wicket comes Singh to Porterfield. And that's going to end the 4th over. 44 for 1. Good start in this reply, needing 183 for victory.
Yes, a very good start so far from the Northwest Warriors. They're not going to have any issues in this run chase from runs required, I don't believe. They're going to have potential issues if wickets keep falling. If they can keep wickets in the hut here and keep themselves in the game, and if you have a big innings, me and Andrew Leonard were on commentary earlier talking about the lack of people converting from 40s and 50s onto 70s and 80s so far this weekend. The Northwest Warriors could really do with a big innings from somebody like a William Porterfield to go on and score an 80 or 90 in a match-winning knock.
Yeah, I'd like to see Porty. I want to knock down the Leinster Lightning, but I'd like to see Porty get a few runs. He certainly started with the right intent. He's just not going to get bogged down out there. He's swinging and missing, and when he connects, he's connecting big. If he's forced his way back into the Irish team, well then, from an international viewpoint, the more runs Porterfield scores, the more time he occupies the crease, the better it is for the Irish international side. Good contest this between Maguire and Porterfield. Oh, not Maguire, I should say. Josh Little and Porterfield. Maguire's at the other end, and it was straight at Andy Balbirnie. But he seems to be hitting it off the middle. We can hear it from our commentary position here, that crack off the middle of the bat. He's seeing it big like a beach ball.
Yeah, he is indeed. He started superbly, and I'm sure the Leinster Lightning won't be too displeased to see him just take a single there and get off strike and try to build up a little bit of pressure against Nathan Maguire.
Oh, cries of catch it, but it's gone over McCarthy's head and all the way for 4. He was up in the circle, not down a deep fine leg, and all he can do is trot after that ball. And Maguire's getting his runs and boundaries.
He is. Little going for the short delivery here, and Maguire's just swiveled on it over short fine leg. Reminiscent of Ricky Ponting there, the way Maguire's swivelled off the back foot with his pull shot. Barry McCarthy would have had to have grown a couple of feet to have gotten any chance of that one.
That's nicely done. Up on his toes, Maguire just runs it off the face of the bat down to, I think it's Garassi down there, fielding it. Third man. 50 up in the 5th over. Maguire moves into double figures. Porterfield now facing. Just 14 delivers for his 33. That's right up on the block hole, but it doesn't matter. William Porterfield looks in very good nick. Again, that crack off the middle of the bat and fast outfield, 4 runs.
Another super shot from Porterfield here, just stroking through the line. And when you're playing those sort of shots that straight, with the way his bat is facing, is just a good indicator of what sort of form Porterfield is in. So it's a very, very hard shot to play with such a straight bat. But it was in the arc, in Porterfield's hitting arc. We've seen if it's full, he's going to go after it. If it's short, it's going to go after it. Very tough for Josh Little and the Leinster Lightning bowlers.
Nicely watched. That's a good comeback from Little. And that ends the 5th. 54 for 1. Warriors, who won the toss and fielded, chasing down 183 for victory here. And the way things are going, this could be a tight contest. The comparisons, 40 for 2 at this stage. Leinster Lightning. And a good partnership at this stage, really, between George Dockrell and Tucker after the dismissal of Andy Balbirnie. It took him from 40 for 3 to 119 for 4. So they kind of accelerated in the middle overs. As Singh continues now to Maguire.
Good sensible batting from Nathan Maguire, not taking the risk off Simi Singh. Something that he's going to learn, and he's going to learn with games. Maguire, he's got all the shots in the world, but he needs to go about trying to compile big innings, especially if he's going to be batting at number 3, to try and get into his innings, not making sure that it doesn't have to be a big shot of ball. Sometimes you can just rotate strike.
Porterfield steps away. Can't pierce the ring of fielders inside the ring. Garassi stops that, prevents the run. Dockrell now moving into the ring as well. There's 5 fielders on the offside now, all in the ring. Singh just moving the man at mid-wicket on the boundary, a bit squarer. And usually they have two fielders at short fine leg for Porterfield. One pretty close to each other. Was he trying to set some kind of trap? There's runs to be had out there. That's good stuff from Maguire. He knows Porterfield's the man at the other end, whacking them around the ground. He's just easing the singles and just rotating the strike. It's clever stuff from the 17-year-old. As you say, he's going to have to learn to build innings, and this is the way to do it.
Yes, exactly. It's clever batting, and I think the fact that they've started so well, it means that they can afford to do it as well, that they can rotate when needs be.
That's a deliberate stroke from Porterfield over those two fielders at short fine leg. So that was obviously the trap. Down on one leg he went, and he just nicked it over the two of them, and it's gone all the way to the boundary for 4.
Yeah, this is very clever batting, because Simi Singh's actually adjusted quite well. He saw Porterfield go early and has kind of slowed the ball up, but Porterfield's just about got enough momentum agonisingly over those two fielders, and just goes to show how fast this Pembroke outfield has been all weekend, that has skipped away, and it provides a change in the field. David O'Halloran's now going to go back to deep square leg. Mid-wicket comes into the ring.
Porterfield, they cry of catch it, but they won't catch that. That's another maximum for William Porterfield, moving imperiously on towards his half century and taking his side closer to the target. Still a long way off, still a long way to go, but Porterfield now on to 48 at the end of 6, thanks to Andrew Blair White, and Andrew Leonard will come into the commentary box for the next couple of overs. William Porterfield seeing it big out there. 20 deliveries for his 48. Nathan Maguire on 12. Target is 183. The man out, Stephen Doheny. And bowled O'Halloran caught Dockrell for 6. 183 runs required.
What a power play for the Northwest Warriors. Spoke yesterday about the acid test being whether they would keep this approach of going after it from right from the start, right from ball 1. Would they keep it going even when they're losing wickets? They did yesterday. They fell all the way to 41 for 5, but William Porterfield showing he's no slouch with his strike rate either. 48 off 20 would be the fastest 50 of the season so far.
Barry McCarthy switches ends, and Nathan Maguire does a sensible thing, as I mentioned in the last over, just taking the singles, allowing Porterfield to retain the strike. It's clever batting from Maguire, and also the fact that he's taking singles. They have to move the field around because it's a left-right combo out there. Right-handed Maguire, left-handed Porterfield. 68 for 1. Porterfield too shy of his half century. It will be Mel Merritt if he can make it 2. And the Wasp, you can see on the right-hand side, up to 83% now, favouring the Warriors. And they're going to take 1, and it's going to go all the way for 4. Kevin O'Brien can't cut that off, and it's a nice way to make a half century. William Porterfield whacks it down the ground. O'Brien can't cut it off, and just in 21 deliveries, fastest 50 of the weekend, William Porterfield, the former Irish captain, goes past his half century.
Peerless. What sensational form he's been in. 100 during the week in the 50 over format. He's followed it up with a 50 in the T20 format. He's the most experienced of the Northwest Warriors batsmen. He's shown his class again. 50 again to him. Thuds into the pad this time. It's his 190th T20 game, John. He's played cricket all the way around the world for Ireland, but also for Gloucestershire, Warwickshire. Particularly good record for Warwickshire in the T20 Blast. And that's his 22nd career 50 in the T20 format for William Porterfield. What a cricketer he is.
Yeah. Good to see him regain some of his old form. That run rate, which was hovering around 9 when they started, down around 8 now. And every bowler has suffered out there. And this is very good stuff from Maguire at the other end. Let's not forget him. He's making sure that Porterfield gets the strike at every opportunity. He's hit a couple of bad balls for 4s himself, but He's just keeping it ticking over, taking the ones when they are there, and allowing Porterfield to strike. McCarthy was expensive in his first over. Switching ends now as a dart trundles by to our right hand side. Very pleasant day for cricket, a little windy now as well, and that's caught, is it? Yes, it is. Grassy takes it, and that's the end of Porterfield. Well, they've been trying that right throughout Porterfield's innings, having a short fine leg in. They like the way he pulls it round the corner, but he just couldn't get it up and over Grassy's head. Nice big catch from Grassy, and that's the end of William Porterfield.
And would you believe it? It has happened again. Another batsman has got to 50 and got out immediately afterwards. Graham Ford must be scratching his head as to what is going on. Even a batsman of the class of William Porterfield, what a knock it was. 21 deliveries for 50. He's decided to try and keep going with the aggressive approach. 5 sixes and 4 fours, but he's fallen. A really good catch from Grassy. McCarthy strikes as he so often does. Leading wicket taker of the season in all Interpro cricket. He's got Porterfield. Brings the Lightning back into the game. How badly they needed that. 52 from 23. A brilliant knock from the left-hander who's had a great week.
Yeah, good stuff from Porterfield, but he must have known that that's what the trap was from the previous over. They had 2 men down in that region of fine leg. Here's Shane Getgate to come in to join Nathan Maguire. So Maguire now, the 17-year-old, will assume the responsibility, one would assume, for opening up and getting the runs at this stage. He's been circumspect for 14, but in partnership and in tandem with William Porterfield, they pushed the score on for 27 for 1 to 74 for 2. And McCarthy gets his man. Get immediately off the mark. And that's the end of the over. 7 down. 76 for 2, in fact.
Let me just read you some numbers, John. This week we're into the 5th game, the 10th innings now of the week. We've had good weather, we've had good wickets. 54, 52, 51, 51, 48, 48, 44, 44, 44, 44, 42, 41, 39. There are the top 10 high scores this week.
Thought you really got the lotto numbers there.
Not quite, that's the future career, John. But can you believe that? Every single batter who's got going, got themselves into the 30s, 40s, 50s, they then get out. Just haven't seen that big score that the Irish head coach has been very implicit about what he wants. He wants 70s, 80s, 100s. It's difficult in the T20 format, less overs to work with. But a number of batsmen, Porterfield, Doheny, Tucker, Cummins, Dockrell, McCollum, Singh, Balbirnie, they're all going to be left ruining what might have been, getting out just as they were well set.
George Dockrell's bringing himself on. He was a little expensive yesterday against the Knights, but that was in the first over, but he came back well in his last 4. There are runs to be had out there, so Warriors just need to keep the scoreboard ticking over. And the Wasp has changed again down to 77%, but it's still fancying the Warriors.
Bowled really beautifully yesterday, George Dockrell, after an expensive first over that went for 13. The remaining 3 went for just 14. 4 overs, 1 for 27 for him yesterday. And you could see he was fully aware the batsmen were trying to attack him right from the off, but he took them up really nicely.
Diving to prevent the 4 is Simi Singh. Just got his hand to it. Good eye of weight between the 2 batsmen. Sensible stuff, just to make sure that Singh didn't get ball to hand. Just parried it away to his right hand side, but they were able to trot through for a single.
Nicely bowled from Dockrell, just a little slower through the air. He knows that if you get into that hitting arc of Getgate, he possesses such power. You could get yourself into trouble.
Getgate looking to manoeuvre that into the offside, gave himself a little bit of room. JJ Garth fielding on the boundary down there. That's miserly stuff from Dockrell. That's the end of that over. Just 3 from it. Good comeback.
Said it before, John. Spin to win in T20 cricket. You've got to back your spinners. George Dockrell bringing himself into the attack. Just 3 runs from that over. What I would like to see now, 2 right-handers at the crease, get JJ Garth in to bowl with him. 2 spinners, 1 at each end. It's not going to be, though. Barry McCarthy taken out of the attack. It's going to be David O'Halloran brought back in. Just can't quite get my head around this lack of use of JJ Garth.
Yeah, it's something we probably should investigate. 1 for 17. Very expensive over to start things for David O'Halloran, but he did get the wicket of Doheny in his first over. This is all bubbling up nicely, this. 78 for 2 at the end of 8.
It's heaved into the leg side. It's going to be runs. It was a real half tracker from David O'Halloran, a real loosener. We've seen him do this a little bit early in his spells. Not a good delivery. A complete free hit for Shane Getgate. Smashed away for 6.
Yeah, nicely whipped away. And a long run down there for Rory Anders, I think it is. Yeah, down there. The 12th man for Leinster. Having to retrieve that ball. I feel for Rory Anders, actually. He's been here all weekend and hasn't got a game. Named the 12th man for 3rd consecutive day. Still the leg side, it should be a wide, yep. Paul Reynolds signals it.
I just felt O'Halloran looked a little bit tired yesterday. 3 back-to-back games. Played a lot of cricket to start the season. Remember, he's had quite the rise, the young man. Come from Malahide Cricket Club's 2nd team into the Leinster Lightning, making his List A 50-over debut earlier in the season, his T20 debut just on Friday. I thought certainly it would have been an opportunity to give O'Halloran a rest. I'm not saying drop him, but give Rory Anders a game. Good with the ball. Effective, tight probing medium pacer.
Yeah, there's a question to be asked. I mean, if you name a 12th man or just 12-man squad and not give the 12th man a game, it just seems a little unfair. I mean, he's obviously good enough to be in the 12-man squad. And if he's good enough to be in the 12-man squad, surely he should be in the 11 at one stage. And Rory Anders, the 22-year-old from YMCA. Here's O'Halloran. Tries to catch it, but he won't even stop that. JJ Garth. Ball going underneath him, and that's 4 more runs to the total.
Yeah, and another poor delivery, being honest. It's in essence a free hit for Getgate. He can't get out to this delivery unless he manages to pick out the sole fielder out at deep backward square leg. He's ended up hitting it in front of him. An awkward bounce for JJ Garth means he can't cut it off. 6 and a 4 to go alongside the wides in this over. A solitary wide. David O'Halloran under huge pressure. He's only bowled 9 legal deliveries. He's gone for 28.
Yeah, so there you go. The case in point for Anders could have been like for like swap. He's a fast bowler. Lucky Getgate there didn't chop on, and they were able to run through for a single.
Yeah, not just Anders though, John. Anders left out of the starting 11 today. We can debate the rights or wrongs of that, but JJ Garth is on the pitch. And because Dockrell and Singh are both all-rounders, he's in essence the 6th bowler. Surely they have to go to the leg spin now of JJ Garth. They're not going to get a full 4 overs out of O'Halloran, it doesn't look like to me.
Yeah, there's questions to be answered. But I suppose this is all about the essence of these festivals of IP20. Oh, bowled him. Not just 1 but 2 stumps. Cartwheel across the ground, and that's the end of Getgate. Brisk 14 from just 8 deliveries. He's gone with the score on 91, and O'Halloran strikes for the 2nd time.
What a comeback from O'Halloran. We were just going through him. He'd been hit for 13 from 5 deliveries. He's gone full and straight, and he's knocked out Off and middle stump. 2 poor deliveries in the over that were hit away by Getgate, but he's picked up the big wicket of Maguire. What a comeback. What character from the young man. We doff our cap for you. He's got a second wicket inside his second over. He's been expensive, gone for 30. But wickets are what the Lightning need. They have a third. Puts the game back in the balance. William McClintock to the crease now at number 5.
Could be fireworks. McClintock's a big hitter, we know. Hits a big ball. 24 years of age.
Yeah, more news from the Northwest. Yesterday, in the 40 over league, we spoke about William McClintock's exploits last week with that 195, that record-breaking 195. Yesterday, Barry Chambers giving me the news from Donnamana. Listen to this. Richie McBride, who's Andy McBride's younger brother, smashed 105 from 52 balls with 10 fours and 5 sixes, as Donnamana recovered from 77 for 7 to chase down 220 at Eglinton.
Oh. McClintock immediately in the runs. That ends the 9th over, 92 for 3 now.
What a knock, though, that is. Young Richie McBride, 105 off 52. Remember, Donnamana, of course, missing both McClintock and McBride here on Warriors duty. You would have thought at 77 for 7, chasing 220 at Eglinton. Not a small ground there at Eglinton. So, for the young man to get 105, and then the 57-year-old Junior McBride hitting the winning runs in the final over. It's a family affair at Donnamana. We don't know who writes their scripts up there, but they're always entertaining. They're always good ones. Congratulations to the men from Tyrone. What a win yesterday.
Brilliant. Slight adjustment to the scoreline. 91 for 3 now. It's looking at the main scoreboard. Away to our left-hand side at the far side of the ground. They're now in tandem. It's 91 for 3 at the end of 9. Getgate on 14. McClintock on 1. Oh, it's just going to fall short of Grassy. We can hear Kevin O'Brien saying, catch it.
Big moment this, John. Was this a chance? Should Garassi have got a couple of hands underneath it? It wasn't an easy chance. Didn't get a mitt in it in the end. To run across to his left. No timing. Put his body on the line, but couldn't get anything on it. McClintock survives.
Well, that came off the shoulder of the bat. They've run through for the single. That's brilliant fielding from Dockrell. Taking out the middle stump. Fantastic piece of fielding, but Paul Reynolds unmoved. A big appeal from the Leinster Lightning squad. He's not out.
Phenomenal from George Dockrell. Sprints across to his left, gets his left arm around it, pings it in, takes out the middle stump. How close was this? Direct hits always make it close, John. I'm going to be taking a look. I've got the super slow motion here on the YouTube. Playback speed down to 0.25. Is this going to be out? Paul Reynolds, I think, would have sent it upstairs in a televised international. Let's take a look. Oh, he's just home.
I think, yeah, just home. Grounded his bat, slid it in.
What a decision.
Yeah, fair play to Paul Reynolds.
He was under big pressure as well.
He
because
was
the appeal
too.
was
Yeah,
vehement.
yeah, absolutely. A huge appeal from the Leinster cohort out there. Yeah, we're just looking at it again. He just made it. Just.
Really good bowling this from George Dockrell. He's causing problems on both the inside edge of the bat with the ones that are going straight on and the outside edge as well with the few that turn.
That's in the air. And Kevin O'Brien calls for it. Oh, when he's dropped it. In fact, I don't even think he dropped it, just dropped in front of him. Well, this happened yesterday, didn't it? There was 2 occasions where Kevin O'Brien caught the ball where he just ambled in and took it out of the sky. This time, a big steepling ball down towards Kevin O'Brien, calls mine, and he doesn't even get his hands to it.
It's died on him, isn't it? I think he might have lost it up in the sun. If you look straight up above us, that's exactly where that white ball would have come from. And at first, when he hit it, I thought it was 6, John. But he didn't get any timing. It arced and looped into the sky, and it's died. And you can hear in the background Kevin O'Brien, I'm sorry, George, I lost it. The reason he's lost it, it's a really sort of hazy, bright day, and that white ball will have just disappeared into those clouds in the sun. O'Brien couldn't get him in it.
Yeah, And there's no better man standing underneath a high steepling cricket ball than Kevin O'Brien. If he says he lost it, and that because he didn't get his hands to it. I actually believe him. The 10 overs down, 97 for 3. He just moved towards the ball in that kind of nonchalant way he's done it. We saw it yesterday, just picked the ball out of the sky, but obviously he lost it because he didn't get his hands on it and it bounced in front of him. And he did the right and professional thing too by apologising to the bowler.
We're not going to see JJ Garth at the halfway stage of the game. 97 for 3, 86 to win off 60. We've spoken about how brilliant the first 2 days have been, John, but we've had 4 blowout wins. We knew the result with 3/4 of the game gone in each and every instance. Right now we don't. Which way is this game going? Barry McCarthy with the ball back in his hand from the Willfield Road end.
Getgate moves to 18. McClintock has survived 1 or 2 nervy moments out there for his 4, but we know he's a big hitting batsman. Seven wickets in hand, 85 to win off 59. This is bubbling up into a really good contest. The clouds are starting to dissipate above our heads. We're going to have some bright sunshine shortly. McCarthy bowls. McClintock just works that into the leg side. They'll turn and perhaps looking for the second, but they won't take on the arm of JJ Garth. Terrific fielding. Well, this is the game we've been wanting all weekend. Tight contest. The other matches have been pretty much one-way affairs. Just one shy of the 3-figure mark now in the 11th over. Barry McCarthy, we know he is a wicket taker. And Getgate launches his bat at that. It's gone over the 2 fielders and it's going to trundle away backward a square for 4 more. And the 100 up.
They need a boundary every over, John. That's what they need, and they've got it early in this over. The 3rd delivery from McCarthy, probably looking for the block hole. It turns into a bit of a long half volley. I wonder, was there a change of pace there from McCarthy as well? Got to run away across the outfield. No 3rd man in place, 3rd man up in the circle. So Getgate not hitting it where he wanted to, but he gets 4 runs for it.
Yeah, they're going to run through for 2 here. That's not the greatest fielding in the world from JJ Garth. Coming in from that mid-wicket boundary. Able to scamper through for the 2nd run and get closer to the target. .4 overs bowled. Barry McCarthy, Irish international, played for a spell at Durham, recommended by one Ben Stokes. In and out of the Irish squad. No one works harder on his cricket.
Hit down the ground, that is massive. What a strike from Getgate. McCarthy looked for the block hole. That one may be one of the biggest of the entire weekend. Focused in on the chimney stacks. It's gone over them. It's down Willfield Road. Power from Getgate. Brilliant batting.
And we've seen a lot of balls disappear down there, and Kevin Gallagher, our match referee, having to walk onto the pitch to give the umpires another white kookaburra ball.
We were down the wall talking to Simon Dyke, the Cricket Leinster administrator, asking how much those balls cost. €80 a pop, John. The visits to the Mordyke during the week.
How much?
€80 a pop, the brand new kookaburras that are used at the professional level. So
€80 a pop, eh?
Yeah, that box of balls Kevin Gallagher is holding is a little small fortune in his arms.
Yeah, well, you probably find a little old man out back there with a bag selling them, like they do with the golf balls from the golf courses, where he 5 for a tenner in a garage somewhere. We're on Nelson.
Well bowled, good wide Yorker.
And a wide.
McCarthy not happy with that. Be interesting to see the replay on that just outside the guideline, perhaps, John.
That's what Paul Reynolds would have seen, all right? Yeah, I think so. I think Paul Reynolds got that one right.
Doesn't get a lot wrong, does he? Paul Reynolds, an outstanding umpire. He's elevated himself since coming into the international panel to being one of Ireland's foremost and on the international stage as well.
That's good stuff from McCarthy. Just cuts off the perhaps attempted run off his own bowling. That ends the 11th. 112 for 3. Getgate on 30. McClintock on 5. 71 runs to win of 54. In the modern day game, that's not a huge total to pass. 183 runs needed for victory. 7 wickets in hand. And Dockrell has been very good in his spell. Went for a few in his opening over yesterday. And you can see the comparison there between the two. 94 for 3, 112 for 3. So they're ahead of the chase after 11 overs. And we're going to have a tight finish here. If Warriors can keep wickets in hand, they should do it.
Yeah, certainly now the favourites in this chase. More power hitting to come. It just keeps coming from the Northwest Warriors. Just a change in the field. Simi Singh going to be whipped out to switch with Rory Anders. Rory Anders running across your screen there. He's on his 12th man, Andy Balbirnie. Not sure whether it's a comfort break or any kind of an injury. We'll find out about that. But Rory Anders didn't get on the pitch this weekend in a full playing capacity. He's on his 12th man. He's there at extra cover now.
Yeah, I'd be happy to get on. You see some action. And that's going to go down leg side for, I think, 4 byes. Leg byes, indeed. And 4 runs to the total. And George just straying down the leg side.
Yeah, he's trying to cramp McClintock up. He doesn't want to allow him to access those big hitting levers that he has and let him free his arms. And it ends up flicking off the pad and evading the gloves. Dockrell and Tucker gets away for 4 leg byes. They need a boundary every over. They've got it from the first delivery of the over this time.
Yeah, nicely done from McClintock. Having got a freebie the last ball, just eases that into the offside for a single. Getgate 30 off 16. A lot riding on his shoulders, perhaps. Can he get the big score and take his team home? Little flatter delivery, that one.
Yeah, protection in the deep on the leg side. 3 fielders out there long on. That's deep mid wicket. That's Simi Singh. Kevin O'Brien at deep backward square leg. And then on the offside, long off and quite a square deep cover.
Again down the leg side and wide. It's just overstraining a little bit, George Dockrell here.
What's he going to do, John? He's the captain of the team. Barry McCarthy, expensive that last over. You have to go to the leg spinner, don't you?
Well, that's your plea. We shall see.
So Ross Allen brought on as the 6th bowler for the Northwest Warriors. He was the pick of the bunch. 3 for 19 for him.
I rest my case, my lord. He's just trying to cramp McClintock, isn't he? Everything down, speared into him. Just doesn't want to, as you say, give the chance and the opportunity for McClintock to open up those big arms of his. And again, it's down the leg side, and that's going to go for 4 as well. That's not great bowling from Dockrell. Just straining all the time. In fact, that came off the bat. And that's 4 more to McClintock. Takes him to double figures.
Yeah, nice little bit of touch from McClintock. We obviously know about his power, his raw power, but look at this good touch. He's picked up that Dockrell's going to angle everything into him. He's held his position. He hasn't given himself room outside the leg stump as it might be tempting to. And he's ended up paddling it away. There's the bowling figures. 5 used, all of them, with the exception of Little and Dockrell himself, expensive. But is this not a good indicator that spin is the more effective, not just in terms of economy, but also wicket taking we saw in the Warriors' innings?
And you've convinced me. So Singh is going to continue. He's, well, if I say when he continues, he's actually switching ends, isn't he?
"20 years of age, you're a leg spinner, you're on your home ground."
I don't know if we can get a shot of that, but JJ Garth is down on his hunkers on the boundary.
Yeah, he must be wondering why he's out there.
Yeah.
Give him the ball, give him a chance to shine, give him a chance to win your side the game. Leg spin is what you need at T20 cricket we've seen it all around the leagues, the franchise leagues, the international games. Might get hit for a 4 or 6, but he might get you the breakthrough that you need. You're not going to win this without taking wickets, the Lightning. 60 to win off 48. Simi Singh into the attack.
Yeah, Singh unusually has been expensive in his 2 overs. 19, and there's another one. Thank you and good night. Shane Getgate, that's the longest 6 we've seen today. And another occasion which Kevin Gallagher's going to have to bring out an 80-pound ball.
Yeah, I think that one has gone over the rooftops. The houses here where Brian O'Rourke's parents famously live. And that one has soared massively into the sky. Big hit that. It's probably about a 55-yard boundary straight, but that's almost doubled it. That's an over 100-yard hit that from Shane Getgate. The elevation he gets, the power he possesses. If he bats for another 3 or 4 overs, this game is all over. The Warriors are going to take the win and move top of the table.
Yeah, they got a great platform with William Porterfield's 52 from 23 deliveries, ably assisted by Nathan Maguire. Cries of catch it, and there's no better man to catch it than the Irish captain, Andy Balbirnie. Slides in as the ball was dipping in front of him, but he never looked under pressure at all. That's a lovely catch, and that's the way to get rid of Getgate for 37, but a good knock.
Another batsman gets in and another batsman gets out. Probably not the best delivery of all time, but Andy Balbirnie, who'd just been off the field, I think it was just for a comfort break, quickly used the bathroom, gets on and clings on to a good catch. He didn't pick it up at first. It's that same side of the ground looking up into the sky. The difference between Balbirnie and O'Brien, Balbirnie had the sunglasses on, which probably aided him keeping his eyes on it the whole way through. And the game changes again, just as we were writing the obituary for the Lightning. They bring themselves back into the game. Singh has struck. Game on again. McBride in at number 6. The 2 Donnamana men at the crease. They still have work to do. Can the Lightning back up the wicket with a few dots though, John? That's the key. Good knock from Getgate, gone for 37 off 19.
And again, the emphasis will switch. The emphasis would have been on Getgate to power and get the runs when they were available, and McClintock would be on the anchor role, the other role, just to keep things ticking over. Now the emphasis will change to him as McBride comes in as the new man at the crease.
Key thing for the Lightning, they've got to find a few dots in these next 15 to 20 deliveries. It's 54 to win off 46. That's still in hand for the Warriors. They've got to get that required run rate into play, John. A few dots, maybe a wicket or 2 more, they could get themselves back in the game.
Yeah, we also got a left-right combo here, don't we? McBride the left-hander, McClintock the right-hander. He's on 10. McBride immediately gets off the mark. 130 for 4 in the 13th over. Going to have a tremendous climax to this one.
Well bowled by Singh, just held back a touch. I think McClintock's eyes lit up. He thought it was into his hitting arc, but it was held back.
Ooh, tries to catch it backward point. Tim Tector. It's gone past him though, and they're going to come back for the second, and it's going to test the arm of Balbirnie. And they're home safely. He's a big tall man, McClintock, and he gets big strides in to get home safely for 2. But if you're going to test the arm of somebody, maybe it's not Balbirnie the man to do it. That was look at that arm. Fantastic. McClintock though home and scampering home safely.
Yeah, I think even a direct hit from Balbirnie, which would have been incredible from the deep, probably wasn't enough. McClintock always getting home there.
It's in the air, that should be out. Nice simple catch. And that's the end of McClintock for 12. The end of the 13th over. 132 for 5 now. Wickets just starting to fall. And the Warriors a little bit behind the 8 ball now at this stage. They're going to have 2 new batsmen at the crease.
Game on, the leg spinner from Simi Singh. It's the first one he's bowled today. I think he's decided to change it up, not bowl his off break into the right-hander who was going to try and target the leg side. He's gone with the leg spinner. I'm not sure whether McClintock's picked it. McClintock's looked for the slog sweep, trying to hit it into the leg side. It comes off the outside edge with the little bit of turn away from the bat and the extra bounce in particular. It's what has brought the breakthrough. Simi Singh, 2 wickets in the over. It's game on now at Sydney Parade.
Yeah, absolutely. 132 for 5 at the end of 13 overs. McClintock departs for 12. and Graham Kennedy is going to make his way to the middle to join the captain. McBride in the middle. It's going to be an exciting climax to this game. 5 wickets in hand, and it's going to be the two Andrews to take you through to the conclusion of the game.
Thank you, John Kenny. Yeah, Andrew Blair-White will come and join me. Andrew Leonard will guide you through the last 7 overs in what could be a real thrilling finish even. I thought after Shane Getgate hit that first delivery from Simi Singh in the over for 6, it was looking very much like the Warriors were going to get themselves into the ascendancy and coast home. But all of a sudden, a second wicket, still needing more than a run of ball. Only 5 left in the hutch now. Andrew, where's this game going?
Yeah, well, I was like yourself, Andrew. I thought that Shane Getgate blow might have been the real nail in the coffin. They often do tell you to add 2 wickets to a score in a run chase, and that's just what the Leinster Lightning have done. Some very smart bowling from Simi Singh to get those 2, and Northwest Warriors still have a big task on. The runs won't be the issue, it's the losing of wickets that's the real issue.
David Halloran comes back into the attack, a change of ends for him. 2 wickets, but very expensive. 2 for 30 in his 2 overs. Still no sign of the leg spinner. JJ Garth.
You'd have to think at this stage that unfortunately we probably won't see JJ Garth with the ball, which is an awful shame. Playing 3 games and just getting 1 over, which is just simply not enough for a young budding leg spinner like himself on his home ground as well. He knows the conditions.
Yeah, and I think particularly with the 2 left-handers at the crease, we almost certainly won't see Garth now. Dockrell will stick with his 5 bowlers. But the reason he's gone to O'Halloran, the most expensive of the bowlers, and this is clever from Dockrell, 2 new men at the crease, so he's just trying to squeeze an over in here and get O'Halloran through one of his remaining 2. He's probably said to his quick, I don't actually want a wicket, just give me a tight over, give me 4 or 5 from it, let's get through another one of your overs.
Yeah, exactly. It's not dissimilar sometimes when you see an off spinner open up in that first over and you're trying to almost just get out with an over in the bag. If this goes for 5 or 6, I don't think the Lightning would be too displeased.
Been a really strange spell from David O'Halloran today. He's bowled a few really poor deliveries, bowled a few good ones, picked up 2 critical wickets as well. Bowls another beauty there, beats Graham Kennedy through to the keeper Tucker. I said the Lightning need a couple of dots, they're finding them, and this required run rate rapidly comes into play now. 50 to win off 39.
Yep, driven away from Graham Kennedy to get off the mark. You'd have to think if the Northwest Warriors to get over the line from here, it's going to take a big knock from their captain Andy McBride. He's going to have to provide both runs and the knowledge of the situation, play an experienced hand. There's batting to come, but inexperienced batting. The likes of Kyle McGee and obviously Graham Hume and Craig Young to come as well. So,
and of course, the real power hitters in this Northwest Warriors side, Porterfield showing he's no slouch, still at the top of the order, the fastest 50 of the tournament so far. Doheny, Maguire, Getgate, McClintock, they're all back in the hutch. So it's just McGee really left of the recognised batsman. Hume will probably come in at 9 and Craig Young can bomb a big ball, but both McBride and Kennedy not necessarily the biggest hitters, so this required run rate's going to come into play more and more.
Well, that will really disappoint Dave O'Halloran and George Dockrell. It's another good delivery. It's a genuine edge from Graham Kennedy, and you can just feel as a fielding side, if anything's going to deflate you, it's a nick like that. It's an undeserved 4 against O'Halloran, but it keeps the Northwest Warriors in the ascendancy.
Big moment in the match, that. You felt if O'Halloran could have got out of that over with even a single or 2 off the final delivery, it would have been 47, 46 off 36, but the 4 off the final ball, albeit coming very fortuitously for Kennedy off the outside edge, has just put the game right in the balance again. I don't know where Wasp has gone. Wasp's gone on strike again, but I reckon it's about 50-50 right now. 44 to win off 36. This game right in the balance. Wherever you're watching from around the world, stay tuned, because we're in for the first thriller of the weekend. Simi Singh, a stifled appeal, that one going on down the leg side. This is going to be a critical over. Simi Singh, 2 for 28, 2 expensive overs, comes back brilliantly to take 2 wickets after being pongoed out of the ground by Shane Getgate. These 5 balls, can he find one more? 2 left-handers to bowl to. Just a single for McBride.
Just in relation to what you were saying there an over ago, Andrew, are you shocked with the Northwest Warriors that they don't keep maybe one of those power hitters back? You know, it's obviously good to get the likes of Nathan Maguire up the order, but to hold one of them maybe for that number 7, number 8 role?
Well, I think that's where Jared Wilson, who wasn't in the team as a batter necessarily, an all-rounder, but he showed the power that he can bring. But somebody else is going to have to play that role today. Didn't get to see enough of McGee down in the Mardyke. I think he looks a very technically proficient batsman. Is he a big hitter of the ball? Not quite sure. Hume to come after that. The problem for McBride now with him and Kennedy at the crease is dot, single, single, dot is not good enough. You have to find a boundary every over. You don't want it to be 40 to win off 30. You're leaving an awful lot to do. And that's what's going to happen. The dots and the singles built up the pressure to the point where McBride felt he had to play the big shot. It's gone on with the arm. It's gone through to the gloves of Tucker, who whips off the bails. Simi Singh has turned this game on its head. 3 wickets for him in the course of 2 overs. Beautiful bowling.
Yeah, potentially match winning this from Simi Singh. These last 2 overs of his spell have completely turned this game, and as you say, the pressure just got to McBride there. It was a get-out shot he was trying to play down the ground, and he never got close to getting near the pitch of the ball, and Lorcan Tucker gleefully accepts it behind the stumps.
Yeah, delight for Lorcan Tucker. Love to see that, throwing the ball up above his head after taking the stumping. And remarkably, we're still not going to see Kyle McGee. Going to be Graham Hume in at number 8. McGee playing as a specialist number 9 batsman. Seen some strange decisions from all 4 sides this week. You're good enough to be here at the Interpros and good enough to be picked as a batter or a bowler. Let's see you given your opportunity.
Yeah, and it's something that I'm a little bit surprised by, because I was actually very impressed and applauded Gary Wilson for having McGee in at number 4 down in the 50 over competition. You know, as you say, specialist batter, top order batter, get him playing at number 4 rather than 7 or 8. But not to be today.
Beautifully bowled, a slip in place. How often do we see that in the 15th over of the match? Particularly with a game as high scoring as this one. Singh's first spell, not very good. His second one, those 2 overs, 3 wickets, not many runs, and he's turned the game around. It's 41 to win off 30. We still have a thriller on our hands. Can the Northwest Warriors find some late momentum from somewhere? It's going to have to come from either Hume or Kennedy. The Lightning, they're just showing why they're champions.
Exactly. They get the job done in these sort of situations. And Simi Singh, 4 overs, 3 for 31. Bear in mind, he was 2.1 overs, none for 25 at one stage. His last 11 balls, 3 for 6.
I think the real ace up the Leinster Lightning sleeve right now is those 2 remaining overs from Josh Little. He's good at any stage of the innings, but he's so good at the death. And the fact that the Warriors are going to need to score it significantly in advance of a run of ball off the left arm pace of Josh Little surely makes the Lightning favourites right now, particularly with the fact the Warriors are 6 wickets down. Difficult task for these 2 left-handers, but in my opinion this is the over they're going to have to target. You've got a left arm spinner coming on, George Dockrell, who's going to be turning the ball into them. You need to take a chance.
Yeah, you do, and you need to try and get control of that required run rate again. It's slipped over 8 now. 1 big over though, and it's back to 7 and over. A lot more doable.
5-4 leg side field, 3 men in the deep in the leg side, long on, deep mid wicket, deep backward square leg, looks for the switch hit. The shouts catch it towards Tucker. Hume looking for the switch hit. The reason he's looking for that, only 4 fielders on the offside for him.
Yeah, it's not a bad option. Obviously didn't get the execution, but it's a stacked leg side field, so he's going to have to probably go for 6 if he's going to get any profit from that. So we're going to see a change in the field now. We're going to go 5-4 offside. Simi Singh comes over. So there's plenty of opportunity for Hume to get 1, maybe 2 into the leg side, but still hard to get that boundary.
And he's just going to get it past Dockrell. Such a good fielder, Dockrell. Such a good cricketer, George Dockrell. It's really good to see him back into a little bit of form with the ball as well. Yesterday's comeback after the first over, his final 3 overs, really impressive. And that's going to be the 7th wicket. He had to juggle it and fumble it, Lorcan Tucker. But Kennedy's come down the track. He got nowhere near the pitch of the ball. It's beaten him on the outside edge. No turn for Dockrell. Tucker has taken it, juggled it, but he's had enough time to take the bails off, affect the stumping. Kennedy didn't even try to get back. I think he might have had time if he had tried. The Leinster Lightning, they are closing it out here. Surely they're going to go on and take the win now.
You'd have to think so. Brilliant bowling from George Dockrell. And a little bit of a defeatist mentality there from Graham Kennedy, not trying to get back. But unfortunately, you do expect probably Lorcan Tucker to get the job done. But that fumble, he actually could have gotten back into his ground, and that could have been a game-changing moment. Instead, Kennedy's back, and Kyle McGee is going to come in now for the Northwest Warriors. And he obviously performed heroics in the field with that catch, but he's going to have to perform even more so with the bat if the Northwest Warriors are to get over the line.
Yeah, brilliant from Lorcan Tucker to recover from the initial fumble. Keep his eyes on the bobble and whip off the bails. The Northern Knights and the Munster Reds both arriving at the ground for game 2. That'll be at 4 o'clock. Wherever you're tuning in from all over the world, the highest numbers of the week, and the reason for that, we've got a real thriller on our hands. More than 10,000 concurrently watching us right the way around the world. Thank you for joining us. It's day 3 of the IP20 festival. And what a task young Kyle McGee has on his hands, facing up to the Irish international Leinster Lightning captain George Dockrell, needing 40 off 27. Going to get off the mark with a punch into the leg side, or into the offside, just for 1.
Yeah, good start from McGee, but it's a tough task from here now for the Northwest Warriors. That run rate going up to almost 10 and over now.
Again, we kept saying the Warriors needed 1 boundary and over. They haven't found one in 2 overs now. And they're going to get it. Fortuitously again, Graham Hume gets one off the outside edge. First one came from O'Halloran to the bat of Kennedy. This one, the attempted cut shot, not where Hume intended it, comes off the outside edge, spins away rapidly across the outfield. That's the boundary the Warriors needed.
Yeah, it is. It's a genuine edge from Hume, trying to force that one off the back foot into the offside. But I think at this stage the Warriors will take them any way they come. And it does keep them in the game. Gets that run rate back down.
Does get the required run rate slightly more into check. 4 overs remain. Good finish from Dockrell. He's got 1 for 22 from his allocation. 16 overs gone. 1 for 8 for 7.
Yeah, it's simply the wickets down that's the problem for the Northwest Warriors, and an awful lot of these sides would back themselves to score 35 from 4 overs in this sort of run chase, but only 3 wickets in the sheds. And with Josh Little coming back, and you'd assume he's going to bowl over 17 and 19 here from the Wilfield Road end, it's going to be a tough task. He's got all the variations in the book. Obviously his stock delivery is very quick as well. It'll be tough for McGee and Hume to get it away.
Yeah, but this is the big problem. 2 overs from one of Ireland's premier fast bowlers, who's in the form of his life really. Josh Little, so impressive. Out in Utrecht, man of the match in the second ODI Ireland sole win over there against the Netherlands. probably the star performer really for Ireland all around over there in Holland. He had the commentators' tongues wagging just how impressive he was. I don't think it's going to be long before we'll see Josh Little in some franchise leagues around the world. Any of the scouts watching from Caribbean Premier League or the Big Bash, you've got a young, quick bowler here of enormous potential. And he's a left armer as well, which is so in vogue, so wanted by these leagues. He's going to try and close this game out for the Lightning. 35 to win off 24. Just that extra pace, immediately it rushes McGee. McGee wouldn't have had much exposure to this kind of express pace.
Yeah, exactly, and it's going to be a real baptism of fire for Kyle McGee in this situation, having to try and score at 9 and over. Be interesting to see how they approach these 2 overs of Josh Little, though. Will they try and maybe just get 14, 15 runs off these 2 overs and try to target McCarthy and O'Halloran, who have been an awful lot more expensive today and throughout the weekend?
Beats him for pace, but down the leg side. That's going to be signalled wide, so a free run. 34 to win off 23. Yeah, better run and a half a ball you need, which means you always need a boundary every over, if not a boundary and a couple of 2s. But if you can find a 4 or a 6, complement that with 5 singles, that's what you need. 3 wickets in hand is the problem. Little will be looking to strike, get rid of McGee, get into the 2 bowlers, get into Young, into Ross Allen down at number 11. Just a little too quick, I think. McGee getting nowhere near that down the track. It's come through around shoulder height, trying to dance down the track, and it's difficult as well because that angle around the wicket makes that probably a pretty low percentage shot.
Yeah, it's a difficult situation though. Having only faced the 3 deliveries, you're expected to come in and try to be operating at this 9, 10 and over. Very easy for us to say that you need to try score a boundary. It's very hard with Josh Little bowling the way he is.
Gets off strike, gets the single. Probably not the worst thing for the Warriors. At least they'll have the left-handed Hume on to face up to Little. Hume, a very experienced cricketer. Particularly impressive with the bat last season. He was often rescuing the Warriors from deep trouble at number 6, 7, 8 in the order, but this year a bit more of a bit part player, as the Warriors have been so impressive with the bat, that is. But he's got a big task here. 33 to win off 21. Well within his capabilities. All he's got to do, can he find 1 or 2 to get out of the screws and clear the ropes?
Yeah, well, even thinking of Craig Young, number 10, we saw it in one of the Ireland Wolves games down in Oak Hill, him striking a few clean balls out of Oak Hill. And there are still runs to be scored here.
No timing again, just coming off the under edge of the bat, really. The pace had Hume on the hop. It's not just the pace he bowls at, but his action is just a little surprising when it bowls a shorter delivery. We saw it surprise Owen Morgan so famously in his debut ODI, but it's that kind of slightly slingy action that makes his bouncer so effective.
Yeah, it's slingy and it's a bit skiddy as well to face. It's uncomfortable. He can tuck you up, especially as a right-hander, in at that kind of rib cage area and off the left-hander, which we've seen him profit, hitting the gloves.
And that's the change-up. I was just about to say he's got the change-ups as well. Rolls his fingers over that one. And it's so difficult for McGee because you can see what he's trying to do. He's trying to get down the track, put some momentum into the shot. Little seen him coming, bowled the off-cutter. You end up in no position to be able to hit the ball through to the keeper, Tucker, who does well to cut off the potential of any buys.
Yeah, it's very well disguised slower deliveries as well from Josh Little. They're hard to face, and that's what's made him so effective, even at international level in these latter overs. Then you come back to inter-pro level. It's very difficult at this stage to be scoring 10, 11 and over off him.
And that's going to be the end of McGee. Josh Little showing his class there, really. He's worked him over throughout the over. And the first time he stayed back in his crease, he's roughed him up. It's come off the glove, I think, and it's just carried through to Dockrell and Tucker.
Yeah, just a clip of the glove there of McGee. He was trying to pat that one down, try to work another single, but not to be for himself. Difficult situation to be thrust into, and Josh Little just far too good. 151 for 8 now, the Northwest Warriors. 3 overs to go. And they'll need Graham Hume or Craig Young to be a real hero from here.
What an over though. 1 wicket, 2 runs off the bat, the wide to go with it, so 3 to the total. Josh Little, one of the stars of the season, himself and George Dockrell, William Porterfield the last week or so as well. It's the Irish performers, it's the tried and tested, really standing up here. And if the Lightning can close out this win, he may not look like the player of the match by the figures, but Josh Little's overs are going to have had a huge part to do with the fact that the Lightning have got over the line.
Yes, I'd have to agree, and it's good to see that these Irish players are standing up when required in these big moments, in the big games.
David O'Halloran is going to be to bowl the third last over. He's hit down the ground by Hume. It was the strike. Young just getting back for 2. So 30 to win off 17. Are we in for the grandstand finish that we've been asking for?
Well, you'd have to think from the Northwest Warriors' point of view that this over just has to be the one that goes for big runs off Dave O'Halloran. You've got to try and target him. Try to get a little bit of momentum. It is hard, obviously 2 wickets, but I'm sure Gary Wilson will want his team to continue attacking, not die wondering in this sort of a scenario.
He just thuds into the thigh pad. The call from Young is yes. Takes the bails off. Doesn't quite do the Jonty Rhodes Superman into the stumps, just flicks them off with his hand, but Young was quick and he got through. Leg by signalled.
Yeah, good bowling from O'Halloran. Good back of a length ball there, thudding into Hume's thigh pad. Craig Young coming in. You wouldn't envy anyone in this situation, having to go with almost 2 runs a ball. The number 10 bat. And he can hit some lusty blows, Craig Young. But he's going to have to here, and he's going to have to pretty much from first delivery.
Yeah, been a fine comeback from O'Halloran. He was pumped everywhere in his first 9-10 deliveries. He's come back well to take that second wicket. Comprehensively bowling Maguire and somehow find a way to keep things tight in his 3rd and 4th over. Stifled appeal. I think we're going to have back-to-back leg byes here. Craig Young couldn't lay a bat in it. He looks more at home from this end of the ground, O'Halloran.
Yeah, definitely. He seems to be getting into good rhythm, and I think it's almost underestimated at Pembroke because certain bowlers do really suit certain ends here. You wouldn't think so. There's not too many slopes or anything like that, but it does seem to be some people do love bowling from that St. John's end especially.
No timing again found. O'Halloran's going to try the bit of football skills. Showing off the flair. Euro 2020 in season. Can't kick it onto the stumps though. Get through for another single. Singles aren't enough for the Warriors. 27 off 14. Remember that over from Little to come. He'll probably bowl the next over, the penultimate over of the match. Then it'll be over. The big man Barry McCarthy on his home turf to close it out. Need to find a boundary. Has to be this ball or the next one, you'd think, Andrew.
Yeah, you would have to. They've got to try and get some sort of momentum, but it's very hard. It just doesn't seem to be any sort of timing from Hume at the moment. Young has only faced the 1 delivery.
Slower ball. Hit into the offside. Dockrell can't cut it off. And neither can Tim Tector. Out on the rope. That's going to be the boundary they needed. Lorcan Tucker holds his hands to his head. He thinks that's a big moment. I think it's a big moment as well. 23 off 13. That's well within compass. Are the Warriors' tail going to get it done?
Well, it's a fantastic shot from Craig Young, giving himself a bit of room. placing it through that extra cover and deep cover gap, which is a small acute angle to have gotten it through. But it just gives the Warriors a hope, and if they were to get another boundary off this delivery, brings it down to less than 10 and over for the final 2.
Wherever you are in the world, do not go anywhere. We've got the thriller we wanted. We've asked for it for 2 days. The sun's with us again. The weather's played ball. The cricket is now 23 off 13. Young can't get it. Brilliant from O'Halloran. Direct hit would have been out. He misses. He leapt up like a basketballer, clung onto it like Michael Jordan. Tried to throw down the stumps and he couldn't. 23 to win off 12. That was a key moment. It would have been the 9th wicket.
Almost excellent from Dave O'Halloran. Unfortunately, the shy of the stumps nowhere close after such a good piece of initial fielding. But keeps it to a dot ball, most importantly. 23 off 2.
It was brilliant from O'Halloran. He was a tall young man. He leapt full length, clung onto it, and he had all the time in the world to throw down the stumps. 3 stumps to aim at. He missed them by a mile. Who's going to bowl overs 19 and 20? Josh Little's going to bowl 19. 23 to win off 12. The numbers have peaked. More than 12,000 people watching us right now, all the way around the world. Who are you backing? Who do you think's going to win? Is it going to be the Lightning, the reigning champions, or will it be the Warriors? 2 experienced men at the crease. Hume and Young. Can Little close it out? It's straight down the ground. That's going to be a boundary. Kevin O'Brien is wide at long on. That's the start to the second last over that the Warriors needed. 19 to win off 11. Is it advantage now to the men from the northwest?
That's another super shot, this time from Graham Hume. His first bit of timing. Little just missing his Yorker. Just missing it. And Hume gets it in the hitting arc. Mid-off, was up in the ring. As you say, Kevin O'Brien wide at long on as well. And it's raced away for 4.
You just wonder, was that slightly off-pace delivery from Little? Certainly was into the slot. Hume dispatched it. Back on full pace straight to third man, who can't pick up cleanly. That's big Barry McCarthy. He's probably going to have to bowl the final over. Pressure's going to be on him. 18 to win off 10. Little needs to give him at least 12 or 13 or 14 to work with.
Yes, you'd have to think so. It was actually unfortunate there for Graham Hume. It wasn't a bad option with third man in the ring and backward point. If he'd got that either side of Barry McCarthy, it could have used the pace and gone away for 4. Luckily for the Lightning, just a single. If they could get one more boundary in this over, though, the Warriors, they have a big chance.
They're taking a risk, though, again, because even though Little's coming around the wicket and you'd think that mid-off isn't going to be the most likely hitting position, he's up in the circle. Young does like it down the ground. Little can't bowl into the slot. He's going to go short. He's clubbed into the deep. Has he split the 2 fielders in the deep? He has. Tim Tector can't cut it off. Craig Young, some lusty blows at the bottom of the order alongside Hume. It's putting the Warriors right back in the mix. 14 to win off 9 now.
Yeah, brilliant shot from Craig Young. He sat deep. He saw it coming short from Josh Little and he swiveled away on it. And most importantly, bisecting those 2 fielders out on the boundary. And it gives the Northwest Warriors a huge chance now. A couple of balls ago, we didn't think they had any chance. Now 14 off 9. Are they the favourites now, Andrew?
I think so. Even with just 2 wickets in hand, and that's how big that moment was from David O'Halloran. If he'd thrown down the stumps and dismissed Craig Young, they would have had just the 1 wicket in hand, but Young is still there. He's hit a critical boundary there. 9 from the first 3 deliveries of this over. Little needs to find a wicket or find a dot. He's going to be hit for another boundary, and it's an elegant, stylish piece of batting from a man who's all the way down at number 10. Craig Young is getting his side over the line here now. 10 to win off 8. All of a sudden the Lightning need wickets.
That's an extremely good shot from Craig Young. Just goes to show actually what capability he does have with the bat. Using the pace beautifully with a little back foot punch. And now 10 off 8. I certainly wouldn't have given you much odds of that happening when they needed 23 off 2 overs.
A big surprise for me from Little. He hasn't gone to the slower ball once. Maybe the first ball might have been a knuckle ball. I was trying to look back on that one. But surely the off cutter with his left arm action to the right hand, just taking it away from them, is the way to go. He's gone full pace again, wraps Young on the pad, but they'll get through for the single. JJ Garth tidies up, it'll be signalled leg by, that's irrelevant. 9 to win off 7. I think for the Lightning, they're going to have to find a wicket here. If they get one, then Barry McCarthy would just need one in the final over.
That's exactly it. As for the Warriors, they just need one more boundary and then singles will do the job. They've gotten Hume and Young here. Two very experienced players, very good level heads at the crease at the moment. And they could be pulling off one of the biggest upsets in Interpros in recent years, them coming back from the situation they were in.
9 to win off 7. Little's going to come over the wicket now. Hit into the leg side, so just be a single. Hume's going to be on strike, not the over that Josh Little would have wanted. 15 runs coming from it, 14 from the bat, going with the leg by. He looks distraught, not happy with his efforts in that over. I don't understand why he went full pace for at least 5, if not 6 of the deliveries. No off-cutters, which we saw Kyle McGee couldn't lay a bat on. 4 overs, 1 for 32 for him. It's all now resting on the shoulders of Barry McCarthy.
Yeah, it's a big opportunity for Barry McCarthy to be a hero here for the Leinster Lightning. 8 required off the last over, but just a wicket off this first ball and it all changes.
Viewers continuing to flood in right the way across the globe as the word spreads. Over 14,000 people now concurrently watching us. Don't go anywhere. Got a cracker in our hands. It's Ireland's Barry McCarthy, 8 to win for the Northwest Warriors from 6 deliveries. Goes into the block hole, worked into the leg side. The immediate call is 2. Surely Craig Young's going to get back. He will. Dockrell picks up a brilliant throw, a direct hit in fact, but he still gets home. Hume, 6 to win off 5. More advantage now to the Warriors.
Yeah, really good batting from Graham Hume. The 3 men back on the leg side, and he's just flicked one out towards deep mid wicket there. Dockrell's done good work coming around from long on, but always 2 there. Just goes to show 8 needed off the last over. They don't need to even play the big shots. They can play sensible, good cricket. And they've got 2 there. Now just 6 off 5 required.
And the critical thing for the Warriors, even though they're not 2 frontline batsmen, they're 2 very experienced cricketers. Hume's played a huge amount of professional cricket in South Africa. Made a great start to his career up here in Ireland. Craig Young has evolved into one of Ireland's premier fast bowlers, played all the way around the world. The Leinster Lightning fans are looking very nervous, and they're right to be. Barry McCarthy's going to have to pull a rabbit out of the hat to pull this one off. 6 to win off 5. He's going to have to go full and straight, find a wicket. Does go full and straight, but that's hit out to the cover sweeper. Gets Young back onto strike, which he'll like. Can he castle Young? They're going to have to get 2 wickets, I think. 5 to win off 4.
Yeah, if he was to get Craig Young out with this next delivery, we'd certainly have a grandstand finish here. It's brilliant that we've gotten this on such a lovely day in Pembroke. It's been brewing, this game. This game's been brewing all year, and it's finally coming to head in the final over.
Every delivery now is a moment. In fact, in T20 cricket, all 240 deliveries are moments. But the Brains Trust coming together. George Dockrell, Simi Singh, Barry McCarthy, where are you going to bowl? What are you going to do? Where is the field going to be? I think there's only one place to go here. He has to go full and straight again, surely. But 3rd man in the circle. If Young edges one away, that's going to be 4. 2 men in the deep on the offside. Long off, deep extra cover, long on, deep mid wicket, deep backward square leg. Here comes McCarthy. Goes for the block hole. Turns out to be a full toss. Will just be a single into the leg side. A misfield from JJ Garth. Gonna get back for 2. What a moment that is. He hasn't been given his chance with the ball, and he looks incredibly disappointed with himself. It was a regulation single. They weren't even pushing for 2. He's fumbled it. They've got back for 2. Warriors now just need 3 to win off 3.
Yeah, they 100% are now in the box seat, the Northwest Warriors. Didn't look likely when Craig Young had to come to the crease. Himself and Graham Hume, they still had an awful lot of work to do. But it's been brilliant batting and really sensible batting as well. They've played strong shots. They've taken risks when they've needed to. But also, including this situation here, they've just played very sensible cricket.
We've had a switch to the field because JJ Garth has been rather unceremoniously whipped out of the position where he just had the misfield, and he's such a fine young fielder. I think that's just probably the disappointment of not getting to bowl today, just not paying attention. Fifth man comes into the circle, he's in saving the single now at mid-wicket, so only 4 men in the deep. The Lightning gambling here. Young gets a solitary boundary away, the Warriors win. 3 to win off 3, remember, the chance of a super over as well. McCarthy can find a wicket and a couple of dots. They're going to go with the 5 outside the circle, so it's not third man that goes back. It's fine leg though. That's a bit of a surprise. An outside edge will do here for Young. Where's McCarthy going to go? Slower ball or the Yorker? Going to go for the Yorker. Gets it in, but Young gets it back past him, and Hume is going to go wherever it comes direct. It's going to be out. Surely it is. Brilliant from Josh Little. That is outstanding. From the left-hander, he picked up one-handed. He's thrown down the stump, so he's going to say it was a suicidal second. It was a suicidal second. Game on again here. Just 1 wicket in the hutch. It's 2 to win off 2. It's all happening in Sydney Parade.
Well, Josh Little, he just loves these big moments, the big energy. What a fantastic piece of fielding down on the long-on boundary. To pick that up, it's been bumpy all weekend here in Pembroke. We're having a look at it again on the screen. Brilliant attacking. It looked like Hume would get home for all money, and he's thrown the stumps down. He had to hit, and he has.
It was a direct hit, and a direct hit only that would have done. We're getting it down into slow motion speed. Has he got it right? We're going to tell you now. Brilliant from Little. He picked up and threw it in a flash. Hume was quick, gets the bat in, but he's clearly short. What a decision that is. Can't have been more than 6 or 8 inches. He's caught short. Hume could not believe it. And the pressure now on Young, because 1 more wicket wins the Lightning the game. Everything's possible. The graphics haven't updated yet, but it's 2 to win off 2. The score is 181 for 9.
Yeah, what do you do now if you're Craig Young? What do you do now if you're Barry McCarthy? Do you gamble? Try to be the hero? Do you try to get your single and make sure you're getting the super over at least? Everything possible here. I'm sure the Lightning, they'll be hoping. Imagine a dot ball here, bringing it to 2 to win off 1. Can Barry McCarthy do it?
Craig Young on strike, 2 to win off 2. Goes into the block hole, nails it again. Young calls quickly. A fumble in the deep. Dockrell's going to throw to the keeper's end. The throw's errant. Young is going to just get home, and the Warriors win. He doesn't know whether to celebrate or not. He will celebrate. The throw from Dockrell was wide of Tucker. That's allowed Young to get back in. I think he was confused as to whether he was home or not. The run out would have brought us to a super over. It hasn't been a run out. Young has got them over the line. 17 off 9 for him. What a game of cricket with just 1 delivery to spare. They've won by the barest of margins.
What a fantastic performance from Craig Young and the Northwest Warriors to get themselves over the line there. It was a fantastic last 20-25 minutes of action there. Brilliant inter-pro cricket. Irish cricket at its absolute best here, and well appreciated by the 100 spectators in here in Sydney Parade.
They're disappointed spectators though, because they're predominantly Leinster Lightning fans. And they are going to be distraught. They are going home with a loss. They were comfortable winners on day 1 and they lost back-to-back games. That hasn't happened too often to the Leinster Lightning in any format. Barry McCarthy nailed that Yorker, but Young squeezed it out. Dockrell was quick off the mark, didn't pick it up cleanly. That was the key. It was on the slightly rougher side of the ground. If he had picked it up cleanly and thrown it in flat over the top, I think Young would have been comfortably caught short. We would have been off to a super over, but we're not. Young gets home, and he's the hero. Not just with the ball, 3 wickets for him, but with the bat as well. What a knock from the big man from Breedy. Outstanding from the Warriors. They go top of the table.
Yeah, and deservedly so for Craig Young. What a super piece of batting, and just going to show his worth with the bat as well. Fantastic drama here in Sydney Parade.
And a huge disappointment for Nigel Jones there. You see him on your screen, the head coach. Those small margins have cost the Leinster Lightning that game. JJ Garth's fumble in the final over. That's restricted to just 1. How different a game do we have? Look at the celebrations that are going to take place in the Northwest tent. It's going to make that drive home to Derry all the sweeter because they are top of the table. Bonus point winners the first day. And so impressive the way they went about it. But we've had a thriller, an absolute cracker of a game. It's gone right the way down to the penultimate ball of the game. 239 deliveries of T20 cricket we've seen. And the Northwest Warriors have won in one of the all-time great T20s we've ever seen here on Irish soil.
Yeah, an absolute privilege to be here and be able to watch that game. What a performance from the Northwest Warriors to get over the line. A real vintage T20 game. It ebbed, it flowed. The Warriors were on top. Then the Lightning looked like they'd gotten back into the ascendancy. They have them 8 down, still around 35 runs to win. And yet Craig Young and Graham Hume, don't underestimate how well Graham Hume has batted in that situation there. But Craig Young is the man that has brought them over the line.
Just had a WhatsApp from Jer Siggins. Brilliant drama, a great advertisement for the Irish game, and he's spot on. And he's absolutely spot on. We've seen brilliant cricket the first 2 days, but it was 4 hammerings, being frank. Each of the 4 sides won one and lost one. But there we've seen a game that ebbed and flowed all the way through it. Let's take a look at the cards. Seen a cracker of a game. That's the match summary. We're not going to take a look through all the cards. 182 for 7 the Leinster Lightning made. I felt it was just a little under par. Didn't feel that they accelerated the way they could have. It was a brilliant partnership, particularly from Tucker and Dockrell. But how good were Ross Allen and Craig Young with the ball for the Warriors?
Yeah, they were absolutely super. And as you said at the halfway point, Andrew, it felt like Leinster had left maybe 10 runs out there with the bat. And that could have been all the winning and losing of the game, getting up to 190, 195. But instead, the Warriors did well. They restricted them to 182 and have ended up chasing it down 9 down.
Brilliant knock from William Porterfield, 52 of 23, the fastest 50 of the IP20 season so far. He's making a case for getting himself back in the mix. He told me on Friday he wants to go to the T20 World Cup. He is not retired from T20 internationals. Could he be the one to come back into the reckoning? We've seen him at the top of the order in the ODI format. Good power hitting from Shane Getgate. And what about Craig Young? All the way from number 10. He gets himself on the batting card of that 17 not out. Going to have to talk to him later about those celebrations. When you win a game like that, you run off the pitch. Get off the pitch. Go and run and celebrate. Don't stand there confused as to whether you've won or not. Let's go over to John Kenny and find out who the player of the matches be. What a game. The Northwest Warriors win by 1 wicket.
Yeah, that was one heck of a game, and that's the game we wanted this weekend. A real thriller here in Pembroke. Well, notable contributions, as you mentioned. William Porterfield with his half-century, the fastest one we've seen this weekend. Dockrell and Tucker also chipped in with a half-century in the losing side. A couple of stumpings and a caught behind as well. He was in contention perhaps for man of the match had Lightning hung on, but it is the man of the match gone to Craig Young. Incredible 17 off 9 deliveries and also took 3 wickets as well. So why didn't you run off at the end?
So I wanted to be sure we had won before I did any celebrating. So yeah, once I heard the last shouting in the changing room, I knew we were over the line. I also knew we were the board as well, but just got to make sure. I'm not used to being there at this time of the innings and making sure things like that. So
What a game. You enjoy that?
I can't say I enjoyed it. No, I'll probably look back maybe in the road home. I'll probably say actually I did enjoy it, but no, I didn't really enjoy it out there at the time. I would rather Humie have got on strike, and finish it. But no, I'm excited now we've won that, and it's great to come out that side of that because we've been on the wrong side of those before.
Yeah, but this is what the IP20 is doing. It's building up your confidence, not just on the inter-provincial side and club sides as well, but also for the internationals to come.
100%. You're playing against quality players. I mean, you look at that Leinster top order, it's ridiculous. I mean, and if you can come out there and do your skills and bowl well against those lads, you know, there's nowhere you can't bowl against. If you bowl the same ball to them, it's as good as anybody. So, yeah, it's nice to be playing against the best. I think it's what we need around here as well. And it's nice to get a wicket like that as well. Really test yourself. So it's good for bat and ball. And yeah, it's really good going forward.
Sure. Leinster looked like they were in the box seat, didn't they, before you came into the bat? And when you were walking out to the middle there, what was your thoughts?
I think it's seed saw it. I mean, when I was sitting there thinking, right, when Getz hit that first ball, Simi's last over for 6, thinking, right, we're in the box seat now, and then suddenly we lose 2 wickets, thinking we're right up against it. When I went to the crease, it's nice to have someone like Humie there. He's very calm, always very calm, and we just talked it through, and just want to make sure I got bat on ball. And if it was on strike, it was on strike. If not, then it was up to Hume to try and do it. So.
Sure. Tell us quickly about your international career. You're bowling really well, 30 years of age. I haven't seen you bowl as quick as this perhaps in the last decade or so. You seem to be on top of your form.
Yeah, a few people have actually said that to me, but I'm a rhythm bowler. Whenever I get, when I get good wickets, good run-ups, and get in a good rhythm. I mean, I keep going back. Oak Hill is a place where I can always sort of reset. I can go down to Oak Hill in the worst form of my life and come out of there really well. I just find it's a nice place to go and play. And with the Wolves, it's just that there's a bit of expectation. There's a bit of a senior role in that team to play as well, which I like. And I always seem to sort of find a bit of form there. And yeah, once my rhythm's up and the tail's up, I'm fine. Like.
Absolutely. So Breedy next week now, and continuations. You're obviously top of the league.
Yeah, hopefully just keep going. Hopefully nothing changes for Breedy. Our home patch, hopefully take advantage of that.
Okay, well done today. That was a terrific knock at the end there, and also for his 3 wickets has given Craig Young the man of the match. What a thriller. Well, hopefully we can get something similar in our final game of the series here, which starts at 4 o'clock Irish time here in Pembroke. It's the Knights against the Munster Reds. We'll bring you full coverage of that, but for the moment we'll take a short break and we'll be back with full coverage of our final game here from Pembroke later on this afternoon.